Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Angel Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 460. In this episode, we're going to have a jam-packed NBA show. I feel like the audience has been waiting for this moment. We're going to talk about Cade Cunningham, the Pistons' 6-game win streak, the dangerous, and I mean dangerous Warriors. Oh, they look awesome. Do you agree, Drew? Do you agree, Dehls? Do you agree, Riff? Oh, Stephen Curry, he's been amazing. Still, if Jalen Clark was guarding him, I think he'd give him trouble still. You saw how he did on SGA.
Shout out to Pick a Side meme because he dropped a video very quick, and I loved it because he's always on point when
and
he
I
posts
love it
about
that
the
you
Warriors.
couldn't react to it because you put out a tweet
yes.
you're not tweeting until John Morant scores 30, which might not be for the next couple of years.
I gotta listen. He ain't gonna never have zero. I'll tell you that multiple times. Let's start there. No, you gotta start. Listen, you gotta hold your brothers accountable. You know, and I gotta hold 12 accountable. So listen, he has had 30 since December 7th at Boston. Memorable game. You gotta do it again. And plus, I need a break from Twitter anyway. So this is a good mental.
Did you delete the app?
No.
Okay.
I'm still gonna watch. Still gonna watch, but I can't like tweet or like anything. I accidentally liked something like 5 minutes ago. I had to unlike it real fast.
Yeah, too. Well, you can't see people's likes, so you'd be good.
Yeah, but
unless it says liked by Do Right.
I gotta hold myself accountable. You know, I gotta hold myself.
Crazy
accountable.
thing is, Ja didn't play bad yesterday.
No, that was one of his better games.
What did he finish with?
21 and 10. 21 and 10.
Long way from 30.
Dude.
No, shout out to
he only took 13 shots.
Yeah, he did only take. He was 6 for 13, something like that. Yeah, but shout out to Santos honestly because man, Joel's a funny guy. He's one of one.
That was 2
say it
weeks
all
ago.
the time. And yeah,
that was 6 games ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
That's
a long time. That's
we ain't playing nobody groundbreaking yet, by the way.
To go from
decent
Steph
teams.
Curry
Houston.
has fallen off.
He did without Jimmy.
He's regressed.
He did.
And it doesn't matter that Jimmy Butler is getting added to the Warriors.
It might not.
But now,
Make up your mind.
No, but now they're the top 3 most dangerous team in the West.
They're dangerous.
Over Denver. They're in a group with OKC and the Lakers.
I might take back that Denver thing. I don't know.
Top 4?
The Lakers game maybe soured me a little bit on Denver. But, you know, they
Top
look
4.
great. Maybe it might not matter, though, come postseason. It really depends on the matchup. If they get one of these young pup teams,
It's almost
not
like-
named OKC, they could do something.
It's almost like what I've been saying all year. You know, all the old heads have a guy they can rely on. Give my brother an old guy or somebody he can rely on, and you'll see a different Steph.
Mm-hmm.
And since Jimmy Butler's got there, you have seen a different Steph. You've seen a more energized Steph, a healthier Steph, a guy that's hitting his shots. Now he's getting to the rim. He's finishing again.
How much help does Steph need? He had an all-star starter.
What?
Oh my God.
Andrew Wiggins.
All-star starter. Holy shit, man.
You just praised. He said
Is he a superstar? He's not. Is he a
he-
high-end all-star?
Nah.
He's not even a low-end. Let's be honest. He's a high-end starter.
player.
Yeah.
That K-pop vote went stupid. That's
It
the
did.
only reason he got in.
He actually has never made close to an all-star game ever again. He's a great player. I love him.
Yeah.
I
One
love
of the best role
Wiggins.
players in the league.
I'll say this, and this is probably where I'm most offended. You got to respect Steph. Of course, he's Steph Curry, but by saying that the Warriors weren't being good, it's a slap in the face of Jimmy Butler. You got to respect one of our current generation's legends. That's Jimmy Butler.
That's fine. I'm cool off that. You know, you're gonna make me sour on the Warriors again. You know, you're
Maybe
pushing my buttons.
I want you.
He's
what
pushing
I
my
want you to
buttons.
do more
You know,
than
I might be
anything
even more
is-
disrespectful now.
If you could just do that right there, that would really move me.
Yeah, shout out to the graphic. It's still Black History Month, so that means Riv is still on
How
here.
many days left?
And
I don't know. I've been enjoying it.
I've been counting down the days. It's 5 days left.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Oh yeah, it's
Why are
5
you
days.
counting down and just?
And
any
I'm looking
reason
forward to
particular?
March. That's when spring's gonna come.
Not
Yeah.
Are we getting? Is it a leap year? This
No,
year?
2020?
2025 is not. 2024 was.
So the month ends the 28th.
Yeah.
Correct.
Man.
But if you look at the graphic, we have a lot of black legends up there. We have River Brown up there.
Yes.
We have Nas
Yes.
up there. We have
Calling
Buddy Hield,
the legend
college
is-
basketball legend for sure. Yes. And then the last
Saquon
player is
Barkley.
Saquon Barkley, which
The
he's
best running
another
back ever.
legend. Yes.
One of, sure.
Someone said it. RB legend, rap legend, college basketball legend, and I had to throw in there podcast legend.
I'm not going to speak on Nas because they're going to hate me for the things I would say. So I'm just going to say pioneer, a legend in the game.
Yeah, I'm curious as to why John thinks that you actually respect hip hop.
I respect some
'Cause
guys.
he's had some hip hop legends up there that like Kendrick, Nas.
Ice Cube. I
Not
love
a fan
Ice
of
Cube.
Having Nipsey there shocked me.
Nipsey's definitely a hood legend for
You
sure.
think John Google's like his like famous black people?
I think John actually has culture.
he does. Fuck with
I think I
John.
don't respect
He's a
those.
Logic fan, so he's
Well,
definitely
there
into
goes his
hip hop.
culture.
No, chill.
Logic is black.
Logic has
He is black.
a
He's
thesaurus
black like I'm black.
of knowledge on hip
Let's
hop.
not get crazy. I'm sorry, Logic.
Yeah, Logic's old mixtapes are really good. He used a lot of like Jay Dilla beats and stuff. Like he's very tapped in, but he's biracial.
I liked Logic when I was like a freshman in high school.
Why you feel like I don't respect hip hop? Because I don't respect Kendrick.
You just were about to talk about.
You also
Nas
have said in the
a bad
past
way.
that Gunn is better than Jay-Z.
Yo, funny enough, I don't like Jay-Z. I don't like Nas. I don't like Kendrick. But I like Snoop Dogg. I like Ice Cube, DMX. I like 50 Cent. I don't like Tupac, but I like Biggie.
What?
Yeah,
Tupac?
I don't like Tupac.
You can't tell me that you respect hip hop and you don't like Tupac, bro.
I don't have to like him to
I'll be
respect him.
transparent. I respect him. I acknowledge him. He's one of the best, top 2, top 3 ever. I don't love
He
his
just
music.
said Kendrick Lamar, Nas,
I mean-
Tupac. I respect.
I don't like
hip-hop.
that, but yeah.
What?
I like the music.
That's like
Just the
I
music,
respect
the music,
LeBron.
that's all.
I don't like LeBron.
Yo, Tupac, honestly,
No, I like LeBron.
I understand, but Tupac is. I don't want to say a tough listen, but it's definitely like an acquired listen.
I'm a Biggie
Yeah,
guy.
crazy.
It's so
I'm a
old.
Biggie
It's,
guy.
yeah, it's a different
Biggie's
style.
amazing, but
All right, bro. Name 5 Tupac songs.
Do for Love, Unconditional Love, Ambitions of a Rider, Changes.
You definitely was
Dear
waiting
Mama.
for us to ask you this question. That's
I
why
mean,
you
I
read
listened
it.
to
Nah,
Tupac.
I'm glad you named Changes. Changes is like the one
Yeah,
that I genuinely love.
that's the most. Of course, Hit 'Em Up is like
Hit 'Em Up
one of the
is
best
another
diss
one.
tracks of all time.
I definitely couldn't name 5.
My favorite Tupac song is Me Against the World. That's my favorite one.
I'll say my favorite and one of the few songs I do listen to Tupac is Hey Mama. That's one of my favorite songs.
I've always been a Biggie guy. So really the
love
two
Biggie.
Who's your
sounds.
top 5 right now? Artist.
Like now?
Now, yeah. Because Riv has me and Riv have similar tastes in music. I don't think they exactly relate to the Biggies and the Tupacs of the
Yeah.
world. You know what I mean?
Damn, right now, Dirk, of course.
Yeah,
For him.
that.
Drake's there.
You're not gonna like that.
Like just artists.
Artist, whoever.
SZA's
SZA,
there.
I knew that.
Damn.
Dirk and
Sleepy
Tupac got
Hollow.
some similarities.
Sleepy in a conversation with Drake, SZA. I love that.
Sleepy
Sleepy
Hollow's
Hollow's-
there
he's
for
hard.
sure. He's in my top 5.
So the Margaret song you just dropped's fire.
Yeah, and then Gunna. That'd be my 5. Like right now that I'm just vividly listening to all the time. Yeah, those are my 5.
It's just Tupac's music. When I was younger, I don't know, it was so good that it made me want to like be an activist.
Oh,
That's how good his music
So
is.
you're a
Like
big Kendrick guy.
Changes. I like Kendrick a
Adds
lot.
up.
Yeah. Like How Much a Dollar Costs. I was listening to that song the other day,
One of them ones.
and the message in it is really brilliant. It's basically about like how much is a dollar really worth, because the message of the song is a homeless man was asking him for money, and Kendrick, coming from the hood, he doesn't mess with free handlers, so he wasn't gonna give him money. But something about this homeless man interacting with him, Kendrick felt like he was interacting with like God in like human form, and it's basically just about being humble, about money and greed.
Exodus 14?
A humble man is all that we ever need. How much a dollar costs? Yeah, I like that a lot. But I think you would like Me Against the World. It's a great song. I think Tupac, like some of the beats, I understand what you're saying. Like it's definitely a West Coast sound and influence. I don't like every Tupac song. There's just certain ones that stand out. But Biggie, I was listening to this song. It's my favorite Biggie song. It's featuring 112.
Is it Missing You or Only You?
It's not Missing You. It's or I think it's D12. I was listening to it the other day, but it's my favorite. It's my favorite Biggie song. I'm trying to search it up. Let me see. Okay.
Dead wrong.
Sky's the Limit.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite Biggie song. Sky's the Limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just West Coast. I don't love it. I don't hate it either. Like I like a few West Coast
Yeah.
guys, but I ain't the biggest fan of the West Coast.
Like I actually never have listened to Snoop Dogg.
Really?
That when I try to listen to his albums, that just wasn't for me.
It's my dad. Like my dad used to play his iPod in the car, and he used to always have Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg. So I had nothing but to just like it. Like it was nonstop, like Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg. So that's why I really like them two. But
How'd you guys get into hip hop? Was it just like music?
50
that,
Cent.
50 Cent? It
50
was just
Cent,
like you figuring it out and finding it out?
Honestly, it was
or
my
your
neighbor.
parents?
My neighbor at the time, he was just like a New Yorker. He was, I don't know, when I was a kid, he was probably like 40 years old or something, but he always listened to Tupac just in his garage. He had a PS1 at his house.
Yeah.
So I would go over, we used to play like the old Tekken games and stuff, and he would have 50 Cent playing. I don't know if my parents knew he was playing,
That's
right?
the
I
real
was
king of
probably
New York
like
in my
6,
eyes.
7 years old.
Yeah.
But 50 Cent was the first like hip hop artist I got introduced to.
It's Jay-Z. With all due respect.
For me, it's 50.
I
He
understand.
really ran the streets.
Man,
This
when are
is
we
dude.
gonna have another classic album? I feel like in the 2000s, there was just of a run of classic albums, like The Game, the documentary.
Yeah.
It's one of the best albums ever. I was also listening to Eminem the other day. I was just not listening to his music, but just listening to interviews that he did, like on 60 Minutes, and his upbringing. His transformation is crazy, like the Slim Shady, blonde hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's
He
crazy.
was a nutcase.
Yeah.
Can I be honest? The last classic rap project album, I'm not going to be ashamed to say Meet the Woo 2.
Meet the Woo 2.
Bro, I'm so serious when
Banger.
I say Meet the Woo 2 does
me
not have
see.
a single miss.
Nah, I mean, Pop Smoke, both of his albums were fire.
Rap albums
His-
of recent memory,
Ever after he passed,
there
they didn't-
really
they didn't
aren't
do
any
it.
classics. Like legitimate classic. Whole Lot of Red. if
Nah,
you
Lil
wanna throw-
Baby.
Okay, I'm with that. I'm
Damn,
with
what
that.
the shit called? he been so washed. I fucking
The
forgot.
one with Whoa, the
you
one
know,
with,
you know
yeah.
which one I'm talking about. The
All
deluxe.
In.
The deluxe made
Why
it a
can't
classic.
I remember the?
I can't
all,
either.
No,
it's- no.
on me. No,
All Me's on there. Emotionally Scarred's on there.
I hate that I
We
can't
Paid's
remember.
on there. Humble's on there. Commercials on there.
I'm mad.
Harder Than Ever?
Yeah.
No.
It's-
My turn. My turn.
Yeah,
My
deluxe.
turn.
It has
I'm
to be
with
the
you.
deluxe.
That
My
was a good
turn
album.
fake is a classic. My turn fake is a classic.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
with you. I'm with you. But I would say those are the last ones. Both those came out in the same year. If I'm
Yeah,
not
I didn't
mistaken.
get introduced to hip hop first. I got introduced to R&B first because my mom used to have CDs of like Mario and Omarion and like Chris Brown, and Alicia Keys. So that's how I got
Meet the Woo 2
introduced.
might be the last classic.
I'm not even joking. People will
2020?
tell you some Denzel Curry rap album is a classic.
I've heard
in
Tyler,
their
the
eyes. Good take. That's a good take.
He's good.
Tyler the Creator's last "Call Me When You Get Lost." People would say that that's a classic rap album. Which
Have you guys heard
I
of
don't hate
Ian?
I have heard of him.
I never
don't
listened
think
to
I
him,
I
but
haven't
I've heard
listened
of
to
him.
him. People
It's
say
not
JID also has a classic album too.
I'm
That
not
last
saying
one
Ian
just
is classic.
dropped,
I'm
right?
just
The
you know,
Forever
I'm just
Story,
asking
if I'm
you
not
guys.
mistaken.
It's good.
That's
Listen
another
to
one.
him. It's good.
Yeah, no, JID came bursting onto the scene. I feel like a lot of the Dreamville crew ended up becoming disappointing though. Like
I
I,
don't disagree.
I feel like a lot of those rap factions, Black Hippie with Kendrick and Top Dog Entertainment, Dreamville, like a lot of those dudes, like they just really didn't become nothing major.
Schoolboy Q was in Black Hippie
yes, Absol too.
too. I mean, they
I liked Earl
Pretty good.
Sweatshirt in high
Like, their
school. I
first
was
couple
cool.
projects-
I thought
Earl
Sweatshirt
Earl was
gonna
good,
be nice.
and then Earl's still good. Let me just say that Earl's still
haven't
good,
listened in a minute.
but it is definitely, you want to talk about acquired listen.
Yeah.
Yo, you really
But like 2013, 2014, I was definitely listening to Earl Sweatshirt like,
hot
every day.
take. Savage Mode 2.
Okay.
Great album. I want
Yeah.
to say classic, but great album.
I understand, but like Morgan Freeman narrating.
21 Savage is nice.
Another faction, Beast Coast 47, with Joey Badass, Capital Steez, rest in peace. Nick Caution, like man, all these guys, bro. They just, I thought they was gonna be bigger than what they
Is
ended
the
up
last all-time great rap faction YMCMB?
being. It might be. They have some bangers.
they got hip legends.
Yo, you know who I was listening to
They
the
do
other
have
day?
legends.
They literally have the big three for a decade.
I was listening to Kevin Rudolph songs with Lil Wayne.
Oh, I Made It and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was a good song.
Nah,
Yo,
facts,
they
though.
were, bro. I
good
feel
ass
like just pop music has taken over rap as like it's kind of always been number one, right? But I feel like there was a point in time where it was kind of dying. But now we just have a lot like Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo. There's just a lot of pop music right now that's
Pop's goated.
really great.
Here's the thing too: Drake transitioning on Views to like that pop sound that also uplifted The Weeknd. But I'll say my music journey started 2004, and it was Sierra Two Step, and it was Usher. Yeah, and I used to watch MTV music videos, and I used to have it recorded on DirecTV, the whatever it was called,
On demand.
the TiVo facts, and I would literally watch the Grammys of Usher and Alicia Keys sing My Boo, but then I would watch the music video of Sierra, Missy Elliott, and Fat Man Scoop, Big Man Scoop. I forget who it is in that song too, because they're also on Lose Control too.
I'll be honest, the man used to be lit. They had shit free movies,
facts,
free
though.
music.
They don't
all
make
that.
content like MTV content back in the day no more.
Nah.
It's going into people's cribs, interviewing
cribs,
them
yeah.
where they grew up.
Exhibit,
like,
man.
it just felt so
My
authentic.
Did you
Ride.
ever watch Pin My Ride?
Of course,
Yo, Pin
yeah.
My Ride was fire. I used to watch that
was
too
good.
much, actually.
It was cool. It was just like, man,
Didn't they
like,
try bringing it
authentic.
back?
They did try to bring it
Yeah,
back.
now we just have them going on fucking Hot Wings and eating spicy
What
food.
is on
Hey,
MTV?
hey.
these
It's
days?
great content. I'm not
I
saying
No
it's not.
idea.
Love
I don't
that.
watch MTV no more.
But when it comes to an artist, I love learning about like their entire upbringing. Like just,
Do
how they
interviews
grew up,
and- yeah,
you know?
for sure.
I'm saying like just how it looks like.
I'll tell you what, I respect you for saying that. I'm very superficial. If your music is good, I'm listening. I really, your existence to me starts when you first are introduced to me musically.
That's why I can relate so much to Vaughn. We've been, doing the same
King
shit.
Von?
King
Yeah,
Von?
bro.
Okay. Type
really-
shit.
Relate to him.
We've been doing the same shit, man. Like we really like when he say he
He had a
did something.
podcast?
Now when he say he did some other stuff, I can relate.
Oh, really? Did some other stuff.
Type shit. You know what I mean? Like
How
me
do you
and
feel
him-
about TK?
I was not the biggest fan.
The race was cool.
Yeah,
Should I not say free
Did he have
him?
another song?
I don't think you should.
Okay.
No, I'm
Nah,
good off that.
his album was cool. I
had
was
an
the biggest fan.
Yeah. Yo, I'm be honest with
Other
you.
than
That
the
tape
race, I
was
really
good.
don't know
Yeah, he had
any
a-
of the songs.
I wasn't the biggest fan though.
No, TK has another song. It's right after
Santana World.
did the race.
I love my Choppa. I definitely heard that.
She Wrote. She Wrote is a fire track.
What's the other guy that was making those story songs? He died. I forgot his name.
Oh, Speaker Knockers.
Speaker
R.I.
Knockers.
fucking P.
Speaker Knockers.
He died,
man.
yeah.
He was
Oh
Oh
nuts.
my
Right.
God, Rico story 1, 2, and 3.
Dude,
Rico
speaking
can't
of-
move. Rico can't talk. The doctor said Rico might not be able to walk.
Rico.
4
man.
bullets in his head, 5 in his back. Oh my God.
Speaker Knockers was really good.
Rest
Talking
Lil
about
Snoop was really good too.
talking about
Snoop
Meek Mill,
was good.
bro. I feel like his
OTF
first
Nunu.
Meek Mill,
Who brought up Meek Mill?
I brought
Rico
Lil
Snoop.
Rico story.
No, we're talking about Speaker Knockers. Rico's story, but Meek
Rico,
was
yeah,
tough too.
you know what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, fair enough.
Yeah, my
It's
You're
bad.
right.
Tony's story.
No, you're right.
Oh, Tony's story.
I think it's
You're
called
right,
Tony's
you're
It
right.
is Tony's
But
story.
and then it's
He had
the
a song
Rico.
called Rico, I
He
think,
did.
with Tory Lanez.
No,
Why
he had a
did he
song
hit with the
Rico
Rico?
with Drake.
Yeah, it's
Millie.
Rico. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Rico
yeah.
with
That shit's
Drake.
hard.
Nah,
Meek used to be
Meek
nice.
Mill's first couple of albums were legendary when he first came on the scene.
Meek
the
fuck
shit that
around might
hype-
have a classic.
That's yes.
His
Dreams
last-
Worth More Than Money
yes.
is a classic.
It's easily a classic.
I wasn't
know,
even thinking that he might have
Dream
more.
Chasers 3, you're saying, or
Yeah.
Dream Chasers 2, whichever.
I think I gotta look at the cover. I'm a
Dreams
cover
with More
guy.
Than Money is easily a classic.
Classic.
That's probably my favorite Meek
I'll
album.
tell you
I
right
think
now.
Speaker Knockers doesn't get enough credit for his sound. I think his sound revolutionized the way that beats went in hip hop.
You're talking.
I like Wins and Losses too.
Dreams of Nightmare, the album for me is his best album.
Oh,
Like,
really?
different-
Better than Dreams Worth More Than Money.
It's yeah.
Have
from
y'all
top to
ever
bottom.
listened to Lord Knows Sped Up? I tell you that all the time. It's way better than the original.
Really?
Oh my God.
He really has dropped bullshit after
He
Wins
has,
and
bro.
Losses. Championships
Championships was
mid. I thought it was mid.
It was
it has some
strong.
hit-
It was good. It was
It
good.
has
it
some.
was
It
mid.
has some hits.
You know,
After that,
Expensive
though,
Pain and Too Good
When
to Be True.
music
I mean, I don't
is so hard. I feel like this
Spencer Payne got some songs.
this more so pertains to hip hop.
Yeah. I'm My Soul.
When it comes to pop music, like they're always like trying to
three good
write
songs on
songs and make songs that are very catchy, as I guess is the goal for all musicians. But when it comes to rappers, like a lot of rap music is just about personal experience and life. So that's why rappers' first couple of albums are their best work. It's not one of those crafts where you get better as you age, because as they get successful, they run out of shit to fucking rap about. Like Eminem, he's probably at the top of his game when it comes to just his skill. But when it comes to making music, you don't really resonate with him no more because he's just so successful. Like same thing with J. Cole. Like, did you guys hear the new song that he dropped? In the Clouds or Clouds? I think it's called Clouds.
Never been a huge J. Cole fan personally.
Yeah, so J. Cole just dropped one, and I think he had a bar in it. He was talking about like, I'm getting so successful that I'm struggling finding to rap about. Like, I feel like that's what it is with hip hop. Like, as they age, it becomes very difficult to just keep making
Yeah,
music.
people's big gripe with Drake is that he's not relatable. That he talks about having a plane. He talks about being just so overly wealthy.
He's just always relatable because he talks about just women. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So that's always going to be relatable to everybody.
But his raps, they say
Yeah.
that his raps
Hey,
are not relatable.
G Herbo job, Welcome to Phaserland too. But he did on his G Herbo rap. You got to pay for it.
Really?
I found a YouTube version. Shit's hard. Not gonna lie,
Really?
shit's hard,
All
but
right.
it's not on streaming services, so I gotta go on YouTube.
Damn.
It's not even like in a playlist. It's one like 30-minute
When did
YouTube
he drop
video
it?
with like 6 songs, like a week or 2 ago.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
Oh shit!
But you have to
okay.
pay, you have to pay like $5 for it. I'm like, dude, it's 2020. I'm not paying for you.
I got it.
But I did buy. It's Welcome to Phase Line 11th anniversary. Dropped a T-shirt, copped it.
No, that's
Shit's hard.
tough.
Shit's hard.
That's tough. Yeah, Herbo used to have some heaters, bro. He went on a crazy run.
I texted Jared because I was like, bro, if he would have released this is the best like body of work. It's like 7 songs. He would have put out in like 3 years.
Yeah, but he went on a crazy run when it was Welcome to Phaseland. Pistol P wasn't great. It
like
wasn't
Pistol
bad
P.
though.
Yeah.
Ballin' Like I'm Kobe, Humble Beast, PTSD.
I loved Pistol
He
P.
really went stupid. What was the mixtape that he dropped?
Strictly for my fans.
Strictly for my fans.
Yeah,
Facts.
he
'Cause he
went-
has
That
a
shit
song
was
with Bibby on there.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Tired on that one?
Tired,
yeah.
yeah.
That one's
Crazy's
incredible.
on there. Tired's on there. The shit with Tink is on there.
He's got a couple samples on there too.
That's
Gut
it.
is
That's
on
it.
there.
I like that
After
album.
PTSD, let me not cap, because he dropped the PTSD Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Cap Guns was on there, right?
Yeah, PTSD
After
was
the
fire.
PTSD Deluxe. Oh wait, that's also not even true because Swervo.
Server wasn't bad.
No,
Swervo's
because
cool.
Swervo had Focused,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Focused is arguably my
I
favorite
like
Herb
2-5.
song.
I liked a lot too.
Of course you did.
No, there's no way.
But PTSD was probably my
Yeah, I
like
was
my
gonna say,
favorite
that's the
one
last
of the
one.
last like
That was the
post
last
2020.
Was PTSD after Swervo?
Yeah.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Swervo was 19, right?
18.
18.
Still Swerving was so bad.
Yo, Focus
Sessions was
Still
really
Swerving
good
was out.
too. He just never promoted.
Focus is like one of my most listened to songs ever.
Yeah, that's hard.
So I feel like a part of this NBA season, there have been some clues that have now been revealed to us. And the number one thing is this Phil Jackson 40-20 rule to reveal teams that are finals contenders. Teams that usually win a championship follow this 40-20 rule, which means they have 40 wins before 20 losses. There's only 3 teams this season that fit that criteria. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the OKC Thunder, and the reigning champion Boston Celtics. You know, I'm putting some respect
How
on
did
the
we get to
Celtics
that
name.
40 win? Oh no, was this our 41st against New York? Was that our 40th?
Listen, you know, I give you some
remember.
respect, and then you take them out.
Honestly,
Might
that
just
was
disrespect
wacky,
you guys
fam.
next
That
time.
was wacky, Dehls.
He's been fake fronting for like 2 days.
Oh, you're cooking.
His playback, he was fronting so hard.
First he fronts on the Celtics. Now he's fronting on the
It
Warriors.
was our 41st win, so don't worry.
3 teams fit the 40-20 rule criteria: OKC, Cleveland, and Boston. What's your prediction for who will win the NBA Finals?
Is there a world where none of them win the NBA Finals?
There is a world.
I'd be shocked.
There is a world.
It exists,
You
but
know
I
the
don't
world.
think it will happen.
You know the world.
I don't.
You know the world.
Oh, you might know.
And there's a part of you. There's a piece
Denver?
that is so scared. The worst possible thing for you, arguably in the entire world, worse than the Jets continuing for another decade of not making the playoffs, is if you guys meet up with the Lakers and lose to us in the finals.
I would actually be ecstatic if we got the Lakers in the finals. I'd be ecstatic.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
happened the last time you played us?
In the finals?
No,
Or-
regular season. Regular season.
Oh, well, if you want, we could go that far too.
That's what I'm saying, we're
I'm
back
okay
15
with that
years,
too. But what happened the last time we played?
you
that
didn't
was
have
that was
Anthony
before
Davis.
Luka.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Now I'm terrified. Or I was terrified then. Now I'm in the clear. Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Oh, interesting. Because I know you're scared of LeBron James. We know
only one good guy.
When
you know?
Austin Reeves sees the Boston Celtics,
he goes up.
he turns to a different demon. Actually, I shouldn't say different. He's himself.
But it's just like when Luka sees Boston, the other two just cancel out 'cause he's so ass.
that's so interesting.
Luka Doncic, when he sees Boston play as well. What are you talking about?
How many points did he
Y'all
average,
keep
Joel?
acting like he wasn't the best player in the finals.
He averaged 28 on
Yeah.
49% from the field.
What about from three?
low bar, but he was the best player in the finals. They didn't win because he had the team.
Was he not the worst defender? We don't have to get into this. You guys tell me. You guys know where I'm going to go
He's
here. But I
definitely
would
gonna
love
get.
to know.
He's definitely gonna get picked apart again.
I would love to know where you guys stand.
I feel like that's interesting because the Boston Celtics have the most experience of these other teams that are involved in this 40-20 rule. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have yet to make the conference finals yet, so we have to see how they react to that moment. And OKC, they're in a similar boat. They have not made the conference finals yet. I have more faith in OKC just because SGA, I think is the best player amongst all those three teams. I think SGA is closer to being the best player in the world than he is to Donovan Mitchell or to Jason Tatum.
That's
I think
insane.
SGA is that good.
That's
I
insane.
think this
That's
year
insane.
I've watched
Oh my
SGA
God.
and
That's insane.
I think
that
he has,
statement is nuts.
How is it
Don't
nuts?
put Donovan
That's
and
insane.
JT
that
together.
statement's
That
nuts.
is insane.
That statement's
should
nuts.
know
But you
after
said
seeing
Wemby's
Jason
is
Tatum
considered
doing
on the
game
table with
after
Jokic
game
and
to
Giannis.
your Knicks.
Absolutely. That
You
is
should
fine,
not-
more fine than
Jesus
Donovan
Christ,
Mitchell and
bro.
Jason Tatum.
What do you mean?
Is
There's
Donovan
there's
Mitchell
like
even close to Tatum right now?
No.
What are we talking
No.
about?
You
No.
said SGA is closer to the best in the world, which is a
Then he is
okay
closer
statement.
to
than
Tatum
he
or
is to
Mitchell.
Tatum
Yes.
and
Why?
Donovan
Why?
Mitchell.
Why?
SGA is a better player than Tatum.
Because he's more efficient. That's all he has. He's
Wait,
a more
what are you-
efficient
what are
shooter.
you
That
talking
is
about?
only because Jason Tatum is a better playmaker by far. He's a better playmaker. He's a
is.
better team defender. He's a better rebounder. He's a more versatile defender. He's a more efficient scorer. And I gave you grace because I
We
said last
underrate
episode
SGA's defense.
he's a great defender.
He's a great defender.
Jason
He's
Tatum's
not
more
as good as
versatile
defender.
defender.
He's not better
Tatum
than
has
defender.
more size on
Jason
him for
Tatum was
sure.
playing fucking point guard yesterday, then guarding Karl Anthony Towns.
I don't care. You're talking about all this skill set shit.
God damn.
What matters is impact on the court. SGA is a plus 18. Tatum's team, when he's off the court,
That's
they have
plus
a
minus
positive
shit.
plus minus.
speaks on,
SGA's impact is
OKC's.
greater than Tatum's.
Yeah,
SGA
because
last year,
OKC's team is kinda
SGA
mid
last
outside
year was
of
better than Tatum. SGA this year is better than Tatum. SGA right now is becoming one of the most unstoppable offensive forces in history. Tatum is not near that.
All right, listen.
hey,
if he's
on
this
me-
fucking good, he should run through the West. Then he should run through the Celtics. If he's fucking Michael Jordan,
And guess
like
what?
you're saying, he's fucking LeBron James,
cook.
like you're saying.
think-
No,
I
run
think
through the West.
OKC's making
cool,
the finals.
Cool. Now I bet if he doesn't make the fucking finals, Joel, bet.
You're on his ass, though.
Okay.
Bets. You better pray to fucking God because his ass is getting locked up
I
by
don't gotta
Jalen Clark
play.
the
This is
last
one of the
two
best
times,
teams
bro.
that we've seen. They have the best defensive rating
You're
in
tripping.
the
How old was
NBA.
Tatum when he made the finals the first time?
23, 24?
How old's SGA right now?
Gotta be 30.
Hasn't made the conference finals yet.
Why is that,
Why
Drew?
am I defending
Why
Tatum?
is that, Drew? It's because SGA was on an OKC team that was clearly rebuilding.
That's true.
They're one of the most
Bro,
horrible
if you
teams
want to
for
say,
a while.
if you want to say SGA is better than Tatum, I mean, a couple episodes ago, he's having a better season. He's been super efficient. To act like there's this fucking 7-tier gap between the two of them is insane.
I never said it's a 7-tier gap.
That's on me for misinterpreting.
SGA
I thought you were saying Donovan Mitchell and Tatum are similar,
No,
or close.
Donovan Mitchell
That's
is
on
not
me.
in the same tier as Jason Tatum.
Tatum and
Donovan
SGA are in the same tier right now. They're in the same tier.
Donovan Mitchell is a top 15 player in the world.
Yeah.
I think Tatum
Yeah.
is a top
Why are you thinking
7
about
player
it?
in the
He's
world.
a top 5 player in the
A lot of
world.
great players.
We don't got to sit here.
Pause.
Donovan
Why are
Mitchell
you-
is
why
that
are you
good.
thinking
Stop
about
saying.
it?
What are we
We'll
doing?
get to it.
No.
We'll
Why
get
are you
to
thinking
it.
about it?
Top 15. I think he's locked.
Did they
Signed
forget
and
about
sealed top
Donovan
20.
Mitchell?
Because he's taking a back seat. People see
Yeah,
numbers
that's what
drop.
it is.
He's still efficient.
Hey,
as
we
fuck.
talked about it. Is Mobley? You can argue
Mobley-
the best player. on
Mobley's
the
not their best player. We know it's
Cavs.
Donovan Mitchell.
my
We know it's
God.
Donovan Mitchell.
I don't know.
No, we do know.
Just because
No.
a player has taken a back seat to let
Yeah,
others
I
eat
agree.
does not mean a guy is better than him. Donovan
But the
Mitchell
defense
is their
and the
Mobley's their best
offense.
defensive player. Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley on offense isn't close.
Yo,
It
Evan
isn't
Mobley's
close.
footwork getting downhill is impressive as fuck.
Evan Mobley's the third best offensive player.
Evan
on the
Mobley
team.
has taken a
He
major
is.
leap, and he's an all-star solidified. Nobody's
offensive
taking that away
players.
from Evan Mobley. But Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the Cavaliers. That's a no-brainer.
You know
There's
me
no
and
doubt
two-way.
about that.
You know
Evan
me in
Mobley-
two-way.
Evan Mobley,
Luka.
if Donovan Mitchell plays like shit, bro, they get smoked in playoff series, bro. Like, pretty comfortably.
I think it's different this go round though.
I don't think so. Like,
think
Evan
He
Mobley,
has to be elite. To
Evan
be like,
Mobley-
No, I think he just needs to be what he's been. If he's what he's been, they don't get smoked.
Evan Mobley could have a bad offensive series and they can still win it.
What's
'Cause he's
Mitchell
gonna
average?
be an
20,
impact
23?
Yeah, exactly.
Say it again.
Mitchell's what, average 23?
He's having 20,
24?
20. Is it 23?
It's
He
like
might
20.
have
it's like
hired it
23.
because as of lately he's been playing really well.
Yeah,
That's
he
true,
has
that
been
is true.
this
Yeah.
month, no doubt.
Yeah,
I think
He's averaging
turning it up.
24.
24. That's great.
He had to tune up last night. He had 33 against the Grizzlies because DG wasn't
Yep,
in.
you're 100%
He's averaging
right.
26 this month.
Yeah, this month really helped him out.
But look at the amount of minutes that he's playing. How many
He's not
minutes is he
playing a
playing?
lot of
No, it's
I mean,
because
they're
that's the
smoking dudes
luxury of the
at
Cavaliers.
halftime.
Yeah, but you're
9 times out
you're
of 10.
overrating the numbers.
Top 15, I'm fine with.
He's top 15. He's top 13 locked. There
Okay.
isn't 15 players better than
Wait,
Donovan
wait.
Mitchell.
I don't
Okay,
understand because
I'm fine.
Donovan Mitchell has been a stamped top 15 player for a couple years
He
now.
has. He has.
So what happened? Just because of the numbers went down this year, you think he's
He's
a worse
better than
player?
Devin
No, it's just
Booker.
a lot of great. I'm
Fact.
fine. No doubt. No
Fact.
doubt. No doubt.
He's better than
Top
Devin
13.
Booker.
Is he better than Jalen Brunson?
You could argue that.
Is he better than Steph Curry?
No.
Is he better
you
than
could argue
Ant-Man?
that, though, this year?
No.
Who?
Ant-Man?
No.
I would argue it.
He's better than 1B? No.
That's fine.
Top 13 seems
He's
fair.
better than
But you're
KD?
talking about top 10 players.
Go ahead.
Better than Cat?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Comfortably?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing
Like,
back.
it's disrespectful to say that.
Oh my God.
Cat's having
he
was the best player in the Knicks a month ago. That's why
Cat don't perform in the playoffs. I don't care. Perform in the playoffs.
You
I
are
don't
so
care.
fucking shameless,
I have
bro.
nothing. I have nothing.
Like,
to
Cat is averaging
How am I
like
shameless?
27
I've been
and
told y'all
14.
about
Oh,
Cat.
my
What are you talking about?
Oh my, you did tell us about Cat.
I
That
don't
you
trust
want him
Cat.
to have the ball more than Jalen
He was
Brunson.
playing better. I always have questioned Cat's
Oh my
playoff.
God.
How
You
he plays in the
literally
playoffs.
Said, yo, Brunson, give the ball to Cat more.
Because he
I
was
think
playing
Mitchell's better than
better.
Cat, definitely.
Of
I
course.
I
By
feel
far.
like Cat's been a top 20 player this year.
Cat's having a
Okay.
fantastic season.
I
There's no doubt about
I
that.
apologize for even considering. That
Thank
is
you.
on me.
I appreciate that.
No doubt. Because once you started saying it, it's true.
I appreciate that.
No doubt. I was wrong to even
He's
question.
better than
it.
Kyrie.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
I don't know about
comfortably.
Kyrie's been a different demon
He
this
has
year.
to be. He has to be.
He's that good though.
comfortably.
Donovan Mitchell, a demon Donovan Mitchell is 28 a game. I want y'all to remember
Yeah, of
that.
course, of
I want y'all
course,
to
of
comfortably
course.
remember demon
Kyrie's
Donovan
averaged-
Mitchell.
Kyrie's
Kyrie's
averaged 28.
No, Kyrie's at like 25 right
21. 21 season.
Yeah.
We're talking about right now.
No, him and James Harden. The season that him and James Harden had
If
together.
you have to go that far back, I got you. But I'm saying,
I mean, did you
Donovan
not? How far back you go?
last year. What are you talking
That's
about?
on me. I'm fucking
What-
stupid.
see,
You're right. I'm
we're
stupid.
losing the plot here.
OD, you're
Donovan
right.
Mitchell is a demon, can lead a top offense as a playmaker, as a scorer, 28 and 6. Let's not forget that. Taking a back seat this year because he's chilling.
Listen, my whole point is that I think OKC
Oh, Kyrie averaged 27 2 years ago.
SGA, I think he is in the conversation for being the best player in the world. That's how great
Yeah.
he's playing. With Giannis, with Jokic, with
I disagree,
Luka
but I
at his
understand
very
what you're
best.
saying.
I just think SGA, the way that he's been able to take over games offensively this year, at the consistency that he's been
at their
able to
table.
do it,
He's right.
what I'm witnessing, it's an all-time season. I haven't went
facts.
over all the
He's right.
history guys,
think
and
so.
I'm not
Offensively,
stacking
it's
it
an
up.
all-time season.
But
I
just
think-
from my eyes, what I'm seeing with SGA and the efficiency numbers back it up too,
sure.
this is a generational season we're getting from a guard.
And
The
how he's
Joker's
getting
the
to his
best player in the
buckets.
league.
Yes,
Comfortably.
He is
Comfortably.
He is.
Like comfortably.
I don't know
get-
if there's another player in his tier.
I get we love to do
Giannis.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I still don't even say like I get we love to say the he can sit at the table thing like to make it seem
He can be at
cooler.
the kids' table.
But like
Yeah.
Joker's the best player in the league.
Giannis-
You talk about offense, like what SGA is doing for a guard. The Joker might be having the best offensive season ever.
You're not wrong about that, but SGA's on and off numbers are better for OKC.
sure,
He's lifting up their offense, and I can't ignore how much of a liability Jokic is on defense.
That's fair. But like offensively as a playmaker,
Offensively,
the
he's
Joker
amazing.
wipes,
I
man.
also think
That's
we
why
don't.
Giannis can never. It's never going to be this huge gap for me. That
of
for that
defense?
alone, correct.
I just look at SGA and the lineups that he has to play with on OKC. There are times when we know that they have great depth. I'm not saying they don't, but he can survive out there with lineups that don't feature another good creator.
fact.
Like he is really manning the offensive load a way that Jokic's minutes most of the time are with the starters.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing with the entirety of the bench unit. He's playing
But they
with
can't survive without him.
no, I'm not saying they can, but I'm saying SGA is playing with more worse lineups, more bench lineups than Jokic for the most part this season. But I think he's been that good at SGA. I think
Let me say this. It took time for Jamal Murray to figure it out. It took MPJ. He's gone through his ebbs and flows. Aaron Gordon missed some time as well. I'm not going to say that Jokic has played with this overwhelmingly great lineup. No, Jokic is what makes the lineup so great.
I mean, we know that. I'm not saying anything
No,
different.
of
I'm
course.
saying when I'm watching the Nuggets for the most part, they always have three of those guys on
I
the floor.
understand. And they've gone through their slumps. And they haven't been these amazing, great players. And if we're going to do that, and at least if you're going to try and carry that over, it's not like J-Dub's been this bad player. I'm not that's what you're saying at all, but J-Dub still, when he's on the court, you understand that defensive lineup that they provide. The offense runs through SGA.
I'm saying
You can
that
watch
there are lineups with SGA where he's out there with Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams. Like he's not out there with J-Dub.
Mm-hmm.
He's not out there with the top players on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's manning and carrying lineups that feature the guys that are closer to the bottom of the
carries that
rotation.
offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying they're bad players, but I'm saying with Jokic, there's at least always three of those main starting guys that are on the floor with him. And I feel like that's kind of been the difference. But on to this conversation, I worry about OKC when it comes to J-Dub and what version of I'm going to get from him, and Chet, how healthy he's going to be. And just, they're young, so you obviously worry about that. And they don't have sharpshooters across their team. They might shoot a good percentage, but the variance with them, they can get cold like they did against the Dallas Mavericks in the second round. But there's something about their defense that I just believe in. I think they're the best defensive team in the league. It shows in the numbers. They're first in defensive rating. They swarm to the ball. They can make it really tough. They have perimeter defenders. They're defenders that are also smaller in stature, can guard above their position. I just look at OKC and I think this team's making the finals out the West. I'm not saying there's not going to be no challenger that's worthy of giving them a run for their money, but I think this is quite clearly the most talented roster in the Western Conference. I think they will make the NBA Finals. I feel much more confident in them beating a team like the Cavaliers in the Finals versus the Celtics, but if they do play the Celtics, I think they can beat them as well.
Yeah, I mean, they have a better chance than what Dallas did last year. They just have a more complete team. They have a more, especially defensive-minded. They have so many defenders they could throw at Boston. But as you mentioned, just their offense does scare me. But all the teams out west, right? I don't think anyone really has this perfect team. Right? Like you could look at Denver, the way that the Lakers were able just to swarm Jokic and sag off a bunch of their shooters. They have their issues. Of course, Memphis. And, you go down the line. All the teams in the West have their own questions about them. But OKC has shown this regular season they could produce wins at a high level. This team that's going to win 67 wins, 67 games possibly, could even flirt with 70 wins if they, only lose like one or two more games. But SGA's been great, and he's going to have to continue to be great in the playoffs to get to the finals. Once he does, if he does, because I do think there's going to be teams out there that compete with them, but they've shown this year to be so dominant that I will give them the path to get there. Boston's going to have guys to throw at him, right? Like, Boston's going to have Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday and Derek White to throw at SGA and make it difficult. But SGA's shown basically all season long, outside of, like, really one game against Jalen Clark, which is kind of funny, to be able to consistently put up numbers and consistently be efficient. You don't just put up 35 and 5, 50% from the field. Him and MJ, the only guards who ever do that. You look at the numbers he's having at the rim, at the mid, in the restricted area. He's been one of the most efficient players in the NBA. We know how great he is. But if they do go against Boston is going to live with Lou Dort hitting threes. They are going to live with Caruso hitting threes. They are going to, wherever Isaiah Hartenstein is, Porzingis is going to be in the paint whenever he's on the floor. So we saw it a bit against the Knicks yesterday, right? Like, especially when Josh Hart was out there, they were completely disrespecting him. They were basically treating him like he was Russell Westbrook. They had nobody up to damn near even the free throw line when Josh Hart was at the top of the key. So they're going to do the same thing to that against the Thunder. Those role players are going to have to hit their shots. So out of these 40-20 guys, I still think Boston has the best chance. I know you guys picked Cleveland this past a couple weeks ago when we had John on the podcast. They can do it. I'm not going to sit here and just pretend like they don't have a real chance to beat Boston. This isn't last year's run, right? Assuming Cleveland is healthy, this is not the same Cleveland team from last year. Health aside, this is a better team. Darius Garland does not have a broken jaw. You have Evan Mobley taking an offensive step. You have better depth. You picked up DeAndre Hunter, and you're probably going to have home court advantage as well. So they're going to be a big roadblock into what Boston wants to do. But I feel like Boston, outside of, that December, January, has shown that once it's time to lock in, they can lock in, right? Where they 8-1 over their last 9 games. Jason Tatum, to me, is playing the best basketball of the season. So I still like them. I still think they have an answer to everybody. I still think offensively and defensively, they probably have the most versatility in the league with the looks they can go to, with the shooters that they have, with the rim protection they can have. So I still like Boston out of this group to make the finals and win the finals.
Now, I've been here looking at lineups just because I've been curious. Now, you guys tell me if you think this lineup is nasty or not. Russell Westbrook, Christian Braun, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Nikola Jokic. Do you like that?
It's whatever.
Now, do you like this lineup of SGA, Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and J-Dub?
It's whatever.
They've both played damn near the same amount of possessions. Except Jokic's differentials at plus 16 and the other is at minus 9.9. It's just that lineup, to be fair, for SGA with J-Dub playing the 5, it's pretty dumb, truthfully. And the fact that has played even that many possessions.
Remember, Hartenstein and Chet has missed a shit ton of time.
That's very true. But even in that lineup, although it's limited with Hartenstein and Holmgren, they've had 123 possessions together. It's in the 63rd percentile, but it is a plus 8.9. So that lineup to me, too, it's SGA, it's Dort, it's J-Dub, it's Chet Holmgren, it's Isaiah Hartenstein. You would assume that that's basically the lineup that they're going to throw out to potentially start a game. and for that to be the result, even though it's such a small sample size, it's not amazing.
+8?
Yeah, +8. I guess it's not bad, but for again, 63rd percentile. The guy who plays the most with Jokic by far this season has been Michael Porter Jr. It's just he needs that 3-point guy, and Michael Porter Jr. has been his guy, and he's gone through his ups and downs. But I look at these lineups, and again, I just see how consistent Jokic is with pretty
Fucking
nasty
sick of me,
Like
spacing.
what? What are you talking about?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
No,
What
I want Drew to go on. That's supposed to be under the rug.
Are you sickened about SGA?
I want to hear Drew talk. He was spitting.
Nah, it's just, again, I just look at the similar lineups that the two have had to play with at times. Like, I look at SGA's nasty lineup, and I look at Jokic's nasty lineup, and I know what Jokic still gets the
Well, you
best
just
out of
said
these guys.
the lineup with J-Dub at the 5 was a negative,
It was a negative,
and overall
correct.
SGA is a +18 on the season, which
He is,
means
but
that he's
Jokic
carrying
is also
the other
a
lineups.
+12, and when he's off, he's like a -8.
Yeah,
He's
but
the
the
bigger swing
difference
than
is
SGA.
the biggest swing is SGA.
The
biggest
biggest,
swing was Jokic.
technically speaking, when he's on, yes, it's SGA, but in totality, when Jokic is on, he's a +12 point something. When he's off, he's a -8. So that point differential gap between is slightly larger than SGA's, but the sole impact when he's on the court is larger for SGA. But again, that's Jokic. It's SGA. We're comparing two of the best, so it's a minute conversation. With these three teams, I'm going to ride with Boston. It's really that simple for me. And it comes down to the sole fact that, one, they're the most experienced team. But when you go down the list of just overwhelmingly great traits that the Boston Celtics have, they have an overwhelming amount of versatility on the defensive side. They have an overwhelming amount of versatility on the offensive side. They have so many guys that can handle the ball. They have a few guys that can play make at a pretty high level as well. You have so many guys that can switch on defense. It's just too much that other teams would have to handle, if you ask me. That's where I look to Boston. And on top of it, they do have the playoff experience. They know what it takes to win a championship. They know what it's like to overcome that hump too that they've gone through multiple years in 22 and 23. I look at that and I just see that they're playing their best brand of basketball, especially over these last couple of games. In the last 5, they've won each of them by double digits. They're just incredible. And Joe Mazzulla is he's a great head coach as well. I think he's earned that right too. But there's just so much depth to this team. They have about everything that you can ask for. And when it comes down to the playoffs, a lot of it does come to experience. And I respect the hell out of Cleveland. I respect the hell out of OKC. I do worry about J-Dub as the secondary creator for the Oklahoma City Thunder in a series versus Boston. Because again, I tweeted this out, and Riv, you and I spoke about it. If Isaiah Hartenstein's your second best playmaker, that's a genuine concern.
Probably the best.
Isaiah Hartenstein is a great basketball player. That's not me taking anything away from him. And look, the fact that you're even arguing Isaiah Hartenstein being a playmaker speaks to, one, how great Isaiah Hartenstein is, but two, there's no legitimate elite playmaking threat. Now, SGA, I would give him the tag of being an elite playmaker when you combine both his ability to score and to, of course, pass, where his passing, his playmaking in that regard is definitely weaker than his scoring, but nevertheless, you package the two together, you get an elite playmaker in my eyes.
The camera died on us because it overheated, but we're back. Drew, you were saying about OKC and their chances.
That's what it was. So, yes, when I look at OKC and I understand, Joel, you're in a similar thought process as me. J-Dub is a good player. He's a great player. But the issue comes when I look at a matchup versus Boston. If J-Dub's going to be inconsistent, like we've seen him be against these high-level teams, now I really get concerned. I talk about Isaiah Hartenstein potentially being the second-best playmaker on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a genuine concern. And Riv, you've even said it to me, he might be the best, which is nuts. If Isaiah Hartenstein's your best playmaker, I personally disagree. Obviously, I would lean SGA for the combination of scoring and passing, although it's definitely not his strongest attribute. He's such an elite scorer that when you combine the two, I get to him being an elite playmaker. It's just worrisome when you go up against a top dog like Boston, when they have so much versatility on both sides of the ball, that when you get really one-dimensional, like we see this Oklahoma City offense get at times, which, to be fair, is still pretty great because SGA is incredible at basketball. It's just there's too much depth. There's too much versatility for Boston. And that one part where there's a lack of consistent playmaking from somebody other than SGA, that's where Oklahoma City worries me big picture wise. As for the Cavaliers are an amazing team. I think that they're building something that can compete for years to come. This is their first year figuring it out. It's not always that the first year you get over the hump. It's not always like that. And I know that it's been a steady progressive build for the Cavaliers since Donovan's been there, but this is Evan Mobley's breakout year. He's easily the best he's been in year 4. Garland's back to form. Jared Allen's healthy. Donovan Mitchell has realized I can take a backseat, and now I'm going to elevate Garland's level of play, and I'm going to allow Mobley to grow more because these are the young foundational pieces of the future for the Cavaliers. So in that regard, it's all right if you guys do fall short, but it would be a failure if you don't make it to the ECF. In that regard, you have to respect that.
Before you go, I want to correct and give the accurate lineup data.
Yep.
Because I don't think what you did was an accurate representation. I know you were just trying to just find it. Who would you say the best 4 players on OKC are?
SGA. Like this year?
Yes.
SGA, J-Dub, Dort, Hartenstein.
Well, just in general. I'm talking about in general.
Oh, Chet.
Okay. This year, SGA has 1,058 possessions with no J-Dub, no Chet, and no Hartenstein.
I'm on cleaning the glass.
I know, but listen, this is what I'm laying out the information right here.
The accurate representation is that they've played 123 possessions.
You're just finding a random lineup. That's
clean the glass.
No, listen, I'm giving the accurate representation right now. There are 1,058 possessions where SGA has been on the court without J-Dub, without Chet, without Hartenstein. OKC is a plus 29.7, 100 percentile, 134.5 offensive rating with a 104.8 defensive rating, 97th percentile. Who would you say the best 4 players on Denver are?
Obviously, Joker, Jamal, MPJ, Aaron Gordon.
Okay. Jokic has played 291 possessions with just Jokic, no Jamal, no Gordon, no MPJ. They are a plus 2.2. SGA without the top 4 players is a plus 29.7. And Jokic without his top 4 players is a plus 2. That's what I mean by SGA carrying lineups.
The context also is OKC is much deeper than Denver.
Yes, but it's 1,000 possessions to 290.
But you look at OKC, they are 10 deep. They play with a ton of guys. You look at Denver, the 3 guys that they go to consistently off the bench is Russell Westbrook. I guess is Christian Brown the majority of the starter now? So Peyton Watson and who's Julian Strother? Like those are the 3 guys that they consistently go to off the bench. They're really a 7-8 man rotation. And that's really it. That's really what they've been majority. You look at OKC, they've gone through injuries, but they have so much depth. Yeah, of course it makes sense. 1,000 possessions, 800 possession
without the
difference
top
is
4 players on the team. That's what I mean by SGA this year. He's been carrying
Tatum's a
plus
different
13
type without his top 4 guys.
Nice. He's a big game player. Shout out to Jason Tatum.
I think that, but I'm just saying in this regard.
95th percentile.
Where'd you find that? I'm curious.
It's on cleaning the glass, but you can filter it out based on who's on the court and who's off the court. So I just filtered out the top 4 off the court and just SGA on. And with these possessions, there's no possession that's played over 58 possessions.
Yeah.
So these are just a sporadic group of guys. The most played possession is SGA, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, and Jalen Williams, the center Jalen Williams. But he has been able to lift up these lineups that really they don't feature somebody else that can control or dictate the offensive pace. He is carrying them. And that's what I feel like has been so impressive. And that's why I'm worried about when he's off the court because they really struggle to generate offense.
Who's your MVP?
The other day I said Jokic because I was in love with the triple-double. But Hoop Venue, shout out to him, Tyler. He's convinced me. It's SGA. You look at all the numbers. You gave me some convincing points, Riv.
Thanks, bro.
But what he swayed me with are these lineup data. The fact that SGA has played 1,000 possessions without the top 4 players on OKC and is a plus 27.9.
Should Tatum be second MVP then? Because you take his top 4 off, he's a plus 13.
That's where I'm really.
Like that's plus 29 plus versus.
Well,
I know,
but Jokic was like a plus. What was he? Plus
2.
I do care. I do care, but at the same time, when I look at the actual talent on Denver past their 4 best players
This gets nasty
comparatively
quick.
to OKC, that's where there's a part of me that really isn't as strongly moved as the number should say.
Christian
I am.
Brown is better than all those guys.
Christian Brown is a starter.
He's better than Isaiah Joe. He's better than Aaron Wiggins. He's better than Lou Dort.
Aaron Wiggins
probably
was
give it to-
I think Lou Dortz is better.
Yeah,
Lou
yeah.
Dortz is better for sure.
I think what's getting lost in the sauce is also how great OKC defensively is.
For real.
Yes.
It really puts
But
into,
their offensive rating is 134.
I think, and this is why SGA was the MVP to me. I think, but defensively, this team 1 through 10, they're there. Like they get in your face. They're pesky. They create turnovers. They don't turn the ball over much on offense either, which limits the amount of possessions that they waste. At the same time, defensively, they're stout, man. They're one of the best defenses I've seen in the regular season in my lifetime because they're just so elite at every level and they can play almost any defense. I think with these 3 teams, it's really a path thing for me. Like OKC probably is going to have the toughest path. Being as if they might play Minnesota or Dallas if they're healthy in the first round or Golden State like that. Then you got to go play a team like Denver in the second round or a team like the Lakers in the second round. Like they'll have easily a tougher path to the finals in the sense of where Boston and Cleveland, we feel like in this panel, it's them in the ECF. Like they'll see each other in the ECF. I think with that matchup specifically.
The fact that they play each other, does that make it closer?
What do you mean?
Like Boston, Cleveland will inevitably probably play in the ECF compared to OKC. Like sure, like round 1, round 2 might be more difficult, but they probably don't have a team as good as Boston or Cleveland. They'll play in the West.
That's true.
Yes and no, but they're gonna play teams with just as much star power, and I think that matters. Like if you play Denver, you have the Joker who's better than everybody in Cleveland and Boston. If you play the Lakers, you have LeBron and Luka. If you play Dallas, it's not probably the same star power, but Kyrie and AD I think are better than Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. In terms of star power, and then defensively they're great. So I think Boston and Cleveland, just that matchup for me, it's really just. Like Drew mentioned, like if they don't make DCF, it's a disappointment, regardless. And if that series doesn't go close for either one of those teams, if it's a 5-game whopping or a not close 6 games, it's a disappointment. I think in that matchup, it's tough because I think both teams have elite continuity. I think both teams have elite chemistry within themselves. I think both teams have been riding the wave. Obviously, Boston's had more success in the last 3 years, but Cleveland has kind of had their ups and downs in terms of just with this core 4. Trying to figure out what's the next best thing for them. How can they, be successful in the court together? And you've seen that this year with Garland, Mobley, Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell. They've been able to be successful along with the role players like Ty Jerome, with the role players like Max Strus. Now you have DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill in spot minutes, Dean Wade in spot minutes. Like it definitely just feels like a different energy this year. And, you walk into that Boston series, you've seen the 3 games they played. Unfortunately, both teams have been unhealthy, so there's not a lot to take from it. But all 3 games kind of give you that vibe that it's going to be a 6-7 game series in the ECF. Boston just 1 through 5 defensively, they're able to switch almost anything. They have that, they have a guy in Tatum who can get it going. He's probably going to have a big series against Cleveland because they don't have that point of attack defender or that heavy set wing defender that can really lock down. They play more team-oriented defense. But with Cleveland, you have the best playmakers out the bunch in Donovan and Garland, who were probably the best passers in the series by far. Those guys can make it work. Then you have a bunch of shooting. You keep it simple. You don't do nothing out of ordinary. With OKC, like I mentioned, it's really just the pathway. I mean, OKC is probably the favorite. The 40-20 rule is really important, but I asked the question of, is there a world where none of these teams cannot win it? Because genuinely, you have Denver, you have the Lakers. Those are 2 tough outings.
In the East, it's nobody else.
In the East, for sure, it's like get to the finals, but if Boston and Denver are in the finals, Denver can win that series. If OKC and the Cavs are in the finals, OKC can win that series. If the Lakers and the Cavs are in the finals, it's so many matchups that can go a different way.
The Cavaliers have the best record against teams over 500.
No, yeah, Boston has had their little slump. The Cavs have been with OKC. They've been dominant all year. Like every
They had
single
like one
month.
stretch in January. They lost like 3
It was like
games,
3 in a
right?
row, and then after that, it was back to fucking business. Like I think after that, they dominated OKC in Cleveland, or it was Denver in Denver. Like it was one of those. But Cleveland has been dominant all year.
Is that your finals pick this year?
To win it,
Yes.
Or
are you going with Boston?
Well, no, he
no,
had
to
Cleveland.
go, I got the Cavs.
Okay.
To win it,
So it's between OKC and the Cavs.
I don't know if I have OKC to go all the way yet. I think I have Denver. I think I have Denver and the Cavs. As of today, I think I'll have Denver and the Cavs in the finals, subject to change once I hit the playoffs, the day before playoffs is my final pick. You know what I'm saying?
I need to see more than 5 games of the Lakers before I come to a final consensus. Yeah. Because the last image in my mind of the Lakers is
beating the shit out of Denver.
Is literally peak Lakers basketball over the past 3 seasons. So that's where I'm at. And obviously, I try not to weigh too heavily. I know I love the Lakers. Everyone knows that. And I'm very easily drawn back to going back to say that the Lakers are contenders. But again, I want to see more of this. I'm excited for what's to come. Before I say that they're full-blown, can definitely 100% go to the finals, can beat OKC, can beat Denver in a 7-game series. That's something that I do need to wait and see how we look on the defensive side for the long term. But where we stand with these 3 teams, I'm going to take the Boston Celtics. My favorite to go to the finals in the East will be the Boston Celtics. My favorite to win the finals, where we stand right now, is the Boston Celtics. But again, that is subject to change depending on how great my Lakers look.
We can't get 24 hours out of you from Tatum. We yesterday tweeted out the most underrated player, overhated,
underrated.
top 5, champion,
overhated.
Perfect franchise player.
He is a perfect franchise player.
And the next day, Riv, he's like, oh yeah, he's like top 7, 8, but like he's not in the same world as SGA.
I say he's top 6. He's a top 6 player.
Joel, upon reflection, your statement's 100% fine. Upon reflection, you're right.
If you think SGA and Tatum are different tiers,
that good.
But what he's saying is not insane.
I think
what
it's
he's
fucking
saying
ludicrous.
is he's closer to Jokic and Giannis.
Where do you have SGA ranked? 3.
He's top 3, top 4.
Where do you have Tatum?
Tatum is
6,
7.
Statistically, that doesn't even make sense.
I don't know how Tatum could be 6 this year. I know I'm nitpicking, but I really don't know how he could be more than like 4 this year.
But
even if he is 6, 3 to 6, 3 to 1.
Well, no, because there's tiers.
It's a numbers thing. It's a tiers thing. I think.
Well, the Joker's in a tier by himself. We have to be serious when we speak.
I'm with you, Riv.
He's not.
And I think Giannis is the closest one to
the
his
Joker
tier.
can still win MVP. I think SGA will win MVP. But we're
He
talking about a
should.
3-time
He's like
MVP.
fucking minus 800.
I know we're talking about a 3-time MVP here. I'm just saying that Tatum, to me, he has not proven to be in that MVP top 3 level.
Okay.
See, I think the top 4 players in the world are Jokic, Giannis, SGA, Luka. I think SGA and Luka are interchangeable.
He's the worst defender I've seen in my life.
I'm talking about his whole body of work. I know this year you want to nitpick him.
God's honest
I'm
truth.
talking about Luka's entire body of work.
Who's worse?
Josh Giddey.
Give me Josh Giddey.
Number 5 is Tatum.
Okay, I mean I'd have him 4, but fine.
Okay, but the other day you said Luka's better than him.
LeBron James.
The
or
other
Jason
day.
Tatum?
Whoa,
Freudian slip.
Jason Tatum. But listen, I'm not gonna lie. When LeBron is locked in play, like he could be the fucking best player in the world.
This month of February, he's been the best player.
I'm not taking nothing away from Tatum. I think Tatum is the perfect franchise player. If I want, I'd love him to be the Next franchise player.
I fucking bet.
He is a perfect franchise player. He plays defense.
Like
he's a great offensive player.
Easy.
He's humble. He's a great leader. See, there are a lot of great qualities about Jason Tatum. I'm not trying to disrespect Jason Tatum. I just don't see Tatum
who's in tier 1
take over more games than SGA in the past 2 years. SGA has
in the playoffs.
Even in the playoffs.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
lie.
Yeah, even in the
Tatum
playoffs.
has taken over more games in the playoffs.
In the last 2 years?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
SGA's been in the playoffs two series the last 2 years.
So I'm not tripping. You're saying the last 2 years SGA has taken over more games than Tatum. That's
the
what you're
playoffs.
saying?
Yeah, overall. I'm just saying overall.
I mean,
overall, I'm watching SGA. He's taking over more games. He's a better offensive engine.
He has to in the regular season.
Postseason games, Tatum, the ones that he's taken over. I'll say the fourth quarter, game 6.
It was 2 in Philly.
Game 7 for sure against Philly.
And
I'll give
Indiana. Yeah, I think 2 against Indiana. If I'm not
He
mistaken.
averaged 30 against Indiana. He had a couple 30 games in the finals.
SGA in all 6 games versus the Mavericks was amazing.
But he didn't take over.
He was flawless.
2 of them?
I mean, he was SGA in all the 6. That's the only thing.
Against
in all
Dallas.
6, he was himself, which I categorize as taking over.
I just think that there was you just watch SGA and you say there's nothing you could do to stop him. At all.
So what's your tier? What's your tier list?
I think my tier, when they're all healthy, I think 4 players have the case to be the best player in the world. That's Jokic, Giannis, Luka, and SGA. I think all those 4 guys are that great to have that case if they go on a great run. I
think that's insane.
I think Luka last year was overall the best player in the world.
You could argue.
I disagree.
But you could argue.
You could argue what?
That Luka was in the conversation for best in the world last year.
I don't know. I just don't know how we're just ignoring the finals. I really don't know. And yeah, 28, whatever. Bro, he was legitimately embarrassing on
Was he
defense.
hurt?
Like the Celtics, I don't know.
All right,
I don't
let's
know.
not get like that.
he
Let's not get like that,
he
bro.
seemed fine against
Why do we
Minnesota.
keep acting
Because
like
he
he
seemed
wasn't
like he was
hurt?
playing defense
Against
against Minnesota.
That doesn't
he was
mean he
playing in the
wasn't
fucking
hurt.
Olympics 2 weeks later.
Isaiah Thomas took over on a broken
Bro.
ankle in the NBA Finals. Doesn't mean he wasn't
It's
hurt.
fucking June. Everybody's got something they're dealing with.
I have a question.
I'm interested.
This is a genuine question. I understand.
Tatum wasn't taped up like Luka before the games.
No, I know.
Luka was dealing with something more serious.
Wait, so can I ask you a question?
I'm not-
Two
Yeah.
questions, actually. You know, Tatum broke his wrist against Golden State when they played in the finals. We do not give a fuck.
Nobody
Tatum.
does,
We
right?
don't
Nobody
care.
does.
We don't
Okay,
care.
now that you tell me that, I will reevaluate. I won't be that
no,
But
harsh
this
on
is
him.
a no fucking
You know,
fact.
you know, I
didn't know he broke
interviewed
his
that
wrist.
summer with
Trust me.
fucking
He
Taylor
broke his-
Brooks.
No, no,
he
but
broke
Joel-
his wrist.
but
You're
Joel-
telling me he 100% broke
He
his
had
wrist.
a wrist injury.
Joel,
He had a wrist injury.
This ain't broke his wrist.
You knew that.
No, wrist injury is different from breaking
He had a
your
wrist
wrist.
injury.
Joel,
I can't confirm if he was
The
broken.
wrist
He had a
injury had nothing to do with him playing bad, is my point. I think Luka being hurt is fair. That's not the reason he
But
was
if
bad
your
on defense.
if your knees are bad and it ruins your mobility, bro. What are we talking about?
I get it, but bro,
He was
bad
never-
on
How is he
defense.
able to slide
Was
his
he
feet
ever that
consistently?
bad against Minnesota on defense?
No,
Was
he
he
wasn't
ever
that bad, no.
bad? No.
He didn't have to do as much because Minnesota only has one player that can dribble and drive.
Kyrie was also playing very well in that Minnesota series against the Celtics. He simply was terrible.
All Luka had to do was sit in gaps. He didn't have to slide. Boston has Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday,
was
and
a
Jason
factor.
Tatum that can all take you off the dribble. Even off the bench, Payne Pritchard, he can take you off the dribble. Minnesota only had one guy. That was our biggest gripe with Minnesota. We don't care about Mike Conley driving to the basket. We don't care about Cat driving to the basket. Anthony Edwards was the only person that could drive and put pressure on the defense. That's why his job wasn't that hard. That's why against the Clippers, he struggled more in that series defensively than any other series outside the finals because he had to guard more, because they had more dribble drive penetrators. But Luka, no doubt about it, his mobility was affected. But even with saying that, Luka had an MVP level year last year. I thought he should have won MVP. And in the playoffs, he led all players in like 9 different categories. You know, I think he, at his best,
He wasn't
has the
best
case
playoff
to be
player
the
last year.
Oh, I sold.
best player in the playoffs.
Yeah, he wasn't the best player.
Who was the best player in the playoffs?
He was the best player in the playoffs.
You can argue Ant. You can argue Joker.
Ant wasn't better than Luka.
And was not better than Luka.
Ant's first 2 series, I think, were better than Luka's.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I'm with you.
I think that's fair.
Luka in the WCF was elite.
Luka was the best in the WCF, but in terms of the first round, Ant cleared him. It wasn't even close. Second round, I think Ant was better.
But I
That
think
was
Luka was
crazy.
overall. I thought he was the best player in the playoffs. He led in 9 different categories.
I mean, but if you just
I just
told
think
me
Luka
Ant
had
was better in the
like
first
one
2.
elite series last year.
I just look at Luka at his very best. I think he has a case to be the best.
Luka
in the world.
closed down the OKC series as well.
Yeah,
He did close
I
it
didn't
out.
think like games
Like
1
I
through
said,
6.
there
or
are
whatever, he was
4
elite.
players any given year. I think if they go on a run, can
has
be the
been-
best player in the
It's
world.
been 4 years of us trying to figure out when are these players going to go on a run and be better than the Joker.
I'm just last year Tatum won the finals and Tatum didn't play at that type of level.
No,
That's
facts.
why he wasn't in the conversation. If Tatum won the finals and played at an
So
elite
what has
MVP
SGA
level,
done to get in the conversation?
He has 2 straight first team All NBA. He's
Jason
about to
Tatum
have,
has 4?
He's about to have,
3?
he's about to have a third and an MVP, and he's putting together one of the most historic offensive seasons we've
SGA
ever
has been
seen.
a top 3 MVP candidate.
And
the
on
last 2
top of
years.
it, he is a great 2-way player. He has everything you want in a basketball
I'm not
player.
saying Tatum can't beat her. I'm just saying, listen, if Tatum this year goes on a playoff run where it's quite obvious that he is the best player in the playoffs, then yeah, he's in that conversation. I have just last year in the playoffs, he didn't look that way. And in the regular season, he hasn't looked like SGA or Jokic or Luka the past 2 years.
He's just giving you like
Luka this
27,
year,
10,
yeah.
6 every night, you know, playing elite defense, just
So
whatever.
you're telling me Tatum's making more of an impact than Luka on a night-to-night basis last year?
Last year in the regular season, Luka was fucking crazy.
How many
It's like
seasons can you
34,
say
99.
Tatum gave more impact to the Celtics on a night-to-night basis than Luka in their years in the
Well,
league?
I mean, they have
2022.
different styles, bro. Like Luka
Wait.
is dominating the ball. He is the entire offense. If you want to say he's impacting the game more, yeah,
So let me
absolutely,
get
he
this
has
straight.
to.
So if Tatum goes on a run this year, wins the finals, plays great, he now has an argument for best player in the world.
I think he has to do more than those other guys, but it depends on how he plays.
No, I'm saying I'm giving you the tap. If he plays great, he has a great run. You mean to tell me he goes from he's closer to
Donovan Mitchell.
whatever the fuck he was.
He's closer to Jokic and SGA.
Now he has an argument for best player. You see what I'm saying, right? How that sounds fake crazy.
Well, he's the fifth best player in the world. It's not that large of a gap.
No, it's a gap between him and the Joker.
He just has to prove to us that he can dominate.
I'm with Riv, dude.
It's a gap between him and
I'm
the
with
Joker.
Riv.
He has to do way more than just
do
one
seasons
run.
of shit to
that's-
get to Jokic.
I don't know about seasons. He just has to
Joker
play at
has
a
been
dominant
comfortably
level.
better for like
It's
4
just-
years in a row now.
It's just Tatum has not played at an MVP level in the playoffs last year. He did not.
But he hasn't played at an MVP level in the regular season either.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying,
that's
to
why
catch
it's-
Jokic.
That's why I'm saying it depends on
Can
the playoff
Tatum
run.
even catch Giannis right now?
In terms of just
being a better basketball player, can he catch
It'd be
Giannis
it'd be
after
really
this
tough.
year?
I'm not saying that. I think Tatum has to do more to get there. What I mean by that, I'm not saying that a finals run averaging 28, 9, and 6 is enough. I'm talking about he has to legitimately dominate.
No,
Like,
I'm
he
giving you the dominate part. I
If
still
he does
think that's
that,
Like
crazy.
KD with the Warriors type dominating?
Sure, he can have
if
that.
he does that, he's a back-to-back champion who played at an
And he
MVP
did win
level in the
Finals
playoffs.
MVP last
But
year.
if he
He
wins
did win
Finals
Finals
MVP this year and Eastern Conference Finals MVP this year, I think
I
the
can't-
argument for him becomes much better.
I can't give you that.
This
Best in the world? Not a chance.
This entire Celtic squad, best in the world. If you want to hold Jokic to that where he's untouchable, okay.
And Giannis.
Okay, but if
can he be at the table like Shea for putting up a couple good
Absolutely.
regular
I don't hate
seasons?
that. I don't hate that.
I personally don't think none of them
if,
have the
if
tape.
Tatum
I'm with
goes,
you, Riv.
if
I
Tatum
don't-
goes
I
on a
don't
run
think so.
this year and is that level of dominant to where he's undeniably the best player in the playoffs, yes, there's a valid argument over Luka, over SGA,
We're past
and
Luka.
he can also kick
Oh, shut
Giannis
up.
out.
The thing with that, like, here's the thing that's keeping Giannis in it. It's the constant eliteness in the regular season.
the idea of
in
him.
in the playoffs
What
prior.
is
idea
that
is crazy.
statement?
The
He
idea
hasn't
is
been.
Drew,
He hasn't played
That
in
is
the playoffs.
fucking
Drew,
dog shit. No, Riv,
when's
you
the
have
last
been...
time? No,
Oh
listen.
my
SGA's got
God.
2 playoff series for
No,
real.
I'm not-
He's got 2 playoff series for real. Giannis won a fucking chip.
Who y'all?
The last time
Giannis didn't win a chip. That was 21?
Yeah, I know. He's got more fucking. You can look at Giannis' resume and be like, he's done shit in the
I'm with
playoffs
you
more
on
than
that,
SGA.
but it's unfair, but it's the truth. We haven't seen Giannis in the playoffs in a long
that's
time.
fine. No, it's
He's
fine.
22.
It's
It's
been a
22.
while. Like, that's
And he had-
all it is.
he had
I just
44
the idea
points
of
in
Giannis,
Game 6.
Like, this man isn't a
No,
fucking.
that's fucking
didn't say
dog
that. I didn't
shit.
say that.
That's crazy.
That's fucking dog shit.
I didn't
That's
say
a
that.
Like he's
terrible
Zion.
I
statement.
didn't say that. I didn't say
Respect
that.
Zion.
No,
Come on.
because every season he's averaging 28 to 30 points a game. He's one of the best creating bigs that we've seen in this game. He's still great defensively. I don't care what anybody says. If you don't want to call him an elite defensive player, he's still great nevertheless. Every single time he's on the court, he's this offensive genius. And it's really, let me not say genius. Well, you could argue that because he is a great playmaker, but he's the most dominant next to Nikola Jokic scoring the basketball.
Ooh. I
He
think SGA is
cannot
more
lift up
dominant.
an offense like Jokic.
No, it's different dominance. Like Shaq and SJ are different like types of dominance. The way that
Well,
he's
Shaq's more
scoring.
dominant than Giannis.
Absolutely, but in the terms of the type of dominance, he's scoring. He's getting downhill.
Well, I mean,
He played-
You
he-
put the Joker in it. The Joker and Giannis are a different level of
but
dominance.
the thing is, Joker, if he wants the ball on the block, he could score that exact same way every single time. He's just so talented. He can kill you in so many different ways.
Well, what Riv is saying is valid, and that's why I said the idea of Giannis because he hasn't been healthy in the playoffs. And the last time he played a couple games in the
lost.
playoffs was versus the Heat. They were the 8th seed, and when he was
That
on,
wasn't
they-
real
they
though.
won-
He was hurt.
They won a game without
His
him.
last real series, in my opinion, is 22 versus the Boston Celtics, and he had 44 in Game 6 on his home
That's
court.
3 years ago.
I understand
you
that.
cannot just ignore the Miami.
They got
series.
embarrassed
He
in
was
Game
hurt.
6.
You know? Oh, wait.
Wait, in that series, in the Bucks and Celtics series, I thought Giannis was the best player in that
He
series.
was.
But in Game 6,
Game 7.
Game
Game
7, they got
six,
blown
because
out.
Game
I thought you
six
were gonna
had-
bring up
No,
Great Win.
Game 6,
Tatum
Tatum
said-
and
Tatum took
Giannis.
over.
No, he took over, but he matched Giannis. Giannis still went for 40. He still went for 40. Giannis did his job.
That was
his
4 years
efficiency in
ago.
that series wasn't that good, though.
It's
wasn't.
never that good.
It
It's
was
never.
he
It's
shot
never
like-
that
he
good.
for
shot
Locks is that
he shot 45% from the field in that series.
Oh, what about Luka?
In the finals?
Yeah,
47.
from 3.
That's not bad.
You gotta give
in
it
the
up,
20%.
man.
I'm just saying, if we're talking about
But still.
efficiency for Giannis, talk about efficiency for Luka because it was nasty.
But Luka led players in 9 categories in the playoffs.
I mean, I'm sure Giannis up to that point was
but
leading the
see
league
what
in
you're
a
saying?
lot.
2022, that's 3 years
that's a
ago.
minute ago. That was a
And the
minute ago.
last time that we saw him in the playoffs, I won't say healthy because he wasn't healthy, was versus the Heat. And offensively, the Bucks struggled because of his lack of spacing too.
He averaged 34 and he had no Middleton
I know, but I'm saying
When?
the efficiency.
against
I know.
the Celtics.
Facts.
He
What is the
outplayed
misfit?
Tatum. He was the best player in that series. And
He averaged 34 points on 46% from the field, which, yeah, you could say that that's not that great. He also was shooting 4 threes a game in that series. Shot 25%, which isn't great, but again, he's shooting threes. It's not like it was just straight downhill, shoulder
It was
buster.
80% in the rim.
I'm not listen.
34 points a game?
Giannis was the best player in that series. I'm not gonna
That's in my
argue
opinion.
differently.
In my opinion, if you want to call the Heat series, that's in your prerogative. Whatever.
Because they could have won games if he played better in the fourth quarter. That's a God honest truth.
But he also had 40 and 20 in a game they lost.
I agree, but he also was throwing the ball like in key
It was
moments,
bad.
turning
I'm
the
not gonna
ball
say
over and
wrong.
making hard
Not
decisions.
gonna say
Like
wrong.
I get
that Heat team was also good. We can't say
they,
it wasn't.
First of all, they weren't that good. They just had
They beat the
always,
Celtics.
Well, that no, that wasn't that Heat team.
That
You're thinking of the wrong-
2023
no,
season.
No. Bucks played the 8th seed Heat team. That was the Heat team that beat the Celtics. Yes, but at the same time, when they
made
was
the finals
walking,
that year.
they was walking into that series. Chris Middleton got him a game. Then Giannis
without
came back.
Giannis, they
Miami
won.
but they
has
lost
always
that game. Giannis got hurt.
Yes,
They
but
lost the
Miami
game,
has
Giannis got
always
hurt.
played Giannis tough. They've always
They have.
the defensive scheme for Giannis. They could have won those games. I get him being hurt. They could have won those games if he just played slightly better in the fourth
I'm
quarter.
just saying with Giannis, it's been 3 years since we've seen him in the playoffs for real. Like that's it. That's it. I know how great he is, but it's been 3 years
It's
since
not
we've seen
an
him in the
idea,
playoffs.
though. We've seen him in the
No,
playoffs.
an idea in the playoffs, absolutely, because in the playoffs there are series where he really struggles. He does. There are series where the offense as a whole for the Bucks
only
struggles
series
because of
he's
his lack of
legitimately
spacing.
struggled against is the Heat. The only team he struggled against and if you want to call the Raptors, which was a pretty historic front court defense.
He's an historic player.
He was,
He's
and
an
he was an
historic
MVP DPOY.
Got to kill.
Historic front court defense.
I think Giannis is
Well, they
pretty
had
good, man.
the overwhelming amount of talent. Serge Ibaka, Gasol, Kawhi.
Just built the wall up.
That's it.
Get a jumper.
I just
He's jumper now.
And his mid-range
That-
has been the best of his career.
that series was lost because of the lack of spacing of his teammates after they built the wall. Obviously, Giannis has, with him, you need the perfect personnel. Not that with other great players, you don't need complementary
Is
players.
21 a perfect team?
No, I'm not saying it's not a perfect team. That's why they
I'm
got
asking you, is it a perfect
what
team?
21 offensively.
That's a good team.
No,
No, all right, I agree.
They won
Thank
because
you.
of their defense.
Correct.
But Chris Middleton was the closer for a lot of those moments.
He was.
And against the Hawks in the conference finals, Brooke Lopez
They won a
and
game
Chris
without,
Middleton dominated
Giannis.
when
Giannis
Giannis was
didn't
out.
play a good portion of that series.
Yeah, and they won that series without him pretty much, So that team was really good. I'm not
We're
going to
talk
say it
about that
wasn't.
ring, man. We're talking about that cupcake, man. Hawks.
Oh, would you stop? He beat the Nets. Regardless how
Well,
you
they
want to
were
shake
hurt.
it, they
They
were
were
hurt.
hurt.
Can't beat the Nets at like 23.
All I'm saying is with Giannis, he hasn't been in the playoffs for 3 years. That's been a long time.
But it's not an idea.
But I just like the Bucks going to the playoffs this year. They play the Pacers in the first round. I know Giannis going to give me 30, 10, fucking 7,
An idea
bro.
is
Like,
something that you haven't seen, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
Well,
we've seen
against,
that's fair.
50 in a
against-
closing game in a fucking
We haven't seen
finals.
this new mid-range in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
that's the idea.
The idea of Giannis when he goes up against personnel that they have defenders that can wall up on him like that, he definitely struggles.
Like if he plays the Cavs in the next round.
That's a very tough series for him because of the personnel they have defensively.
I mean, now it's different because the team is different. Now you have a guy that can actually score on the perimeter in Damian Lillard.
yeah, but Bucks aren't going to lose because of Giannis, bro.
No,
Bucks
they're
gonna
not.
lose 'cause
I'm
all
not
the
saying
other-
the Bucks
Idea
are-
of Giannis is
I'm not
fucking
gonna say I'm
mind-numbing
not saying
shit.
the Bucks are gonna lose because of Giannis.
You're not
But
saying
we
that, but you're
haven't-
saying Giannis is an idea. That's nuts.
we haven't seen him in the
It's
playoffs
fucking
in
nuts,
3
dude.
years.
Dude, that's
So
fucking
and you're
what's
not
your question?
you're not about
It's
to
just
tell.
if he's going to be healthy.
No, my question is
in the game
personnel they run
versus the
into.
Heat that he
Yes.
lost. He went 40 and 20 and lost. He went 40 and 20 and lost.
That's what I'm questioning. His health.
His health.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fair. He's
Yes.
been-
That is fair.
been mostly healthy this
But you're
year.
not
I mean,
talking
like-
about his health. You're
I
talking
am.
about
That's the biggest. He
You're
hasn't played in
fucking-
3
You've
years.
only been mentioning is
Weird
you
injury,
can
I mean,
scheme up,
non-contact.
and there's series that we've seen him struggle. That's
That's
what you're
one
saying.
of the things
you,
I mentioned.
You
That's
have
not
not
the only
talked
thing
about
I mentioned.
health. You've not talked
what's
about
the,
health.
What's the thing I've mentioned? I said he hasn't played in 3 years in the playoffs.
And you
That's
said
what
that
I've been
we've
mentioning
seen
the most.
No. Well, you've mentioned
that
the
not
most.
what I've been mentioning the
what
most?
you've mentioned
I
the
heard it.
most is that you've seen him get schemed up against and not play well.
That's
what you've
one
been the
thing I
loudest
mentioned
about.
also said
along
that.
That's what
with
you've
that.
been
He
loudest
hasn't played
about.
in
He also said that.
2022.
He also said that.
That was the
You feel?
loudest
Didn't I say
your way.
both things?
He said
And
both.
Not to play against
calling
Al Horford,
Giannis
having
an
no
idea
defense.
is
Two things
fucking
can be true.
stupid.
I said
Things
both
can be true.
things.
Two
That's
things can be
why.
true.
That's fucking terrible.
That's why Giannis to me is not close to Jokic like you think because
He has
he
two
hasn't played the
MVP, he
playoffs
has a
in 3
DPOY,
years.
he has a Finals
SGA's played in the
MVP.
playoffs
You're on some
like-
dumb shit.
I just,
None of them are close to this big dude,
Joel,
bro.
like, what I get it. What he hasn't played in 3 years, but like SGA's got like
So
one
Giannis
playoff
and
run,
SGA
bro.
aren't close then? You're on some
No, it is
stupid
close.
shit.
But SGA's
What
playing
do you-
better than him this year. What are you talking about?
Giannis still has been a
Who played
top
better
three-
last year, SGA or Giannis?
That's
Who plays better
Last year, Giannis
this year,
was-
Giannis.
and it's
What are we
close,
talking
man.
about?
And it's
This year,
close.
SGA has been better. Last year, SGA was better.
His team was better.
SGA was.
Giannis is
Giannis
still
giving you
amazing.
31, 12, and
Yo,
6
like, bro,
this
he's
year.
fucking stupid.
What do you
You're
mean?
fucking
You mean like you with the
dumb.
lineup data? You couldn't even get that right.
All right,
What are
see,
you
so
talking about?
You're,
Bro,
how about you
SGA
stay on topic, you dumb fuck?
SGA
Talk about this fucking argument.
Is SGA better than Giannis this year?
This
Who's been
year,
playing
yes,
better?
he's been better
Who's been
this
playing-
year.
Yes, exactly. That's it. That's all I'm talking about.
No, that's
all
not.
I'm
You
talking
said
about.
last year
Yes.
too, but even still, Giannis is still 30 fucking and 12.
Last year,
And he's
SGA was
who's a
better
better
too.
playmaker,
Last year was
Giannis or SGA.
That's close. SGA's playmaking has been
So,
underrated
all right,
this
you know,
year. He's
now that
grown.
I actually think about it,
Last year was closer.
no,
for sure.
now that I think about it, so Giannis is a better playmaker, even though he doesn't play the point guard position. Giannis is a better playmaker, better defender. Who would you take?
Right now, Giannis, when is the last time he's shown to be an elite defender?
Better defender, Giannis or SGA?
I think that's closer.
Answer
SGA,
the question.
SGA, I think
you
that's
take
close.
you take the rim protection.
But even though, who's a better finisher?
SGA.
But Giannis is like
Giannis
it's
is
like
still an
right
elite
there.
Who's a
finisher.
better
They're like
scorer
1 and 2.
offensively? It's not
SGA.
even
That's
close.
fine, yes,
for sure.
And
Yes.
playmaking, it's not a gap.
Finishing, even still, if you want to shake it like that, people say the only thing that Giannis can do is attack the basket and go downhill. So if you're saying that's the only thing that you have to worry about, even though that's not true because he has a great mid-range this
He
year.
only got it this year.
Okay.
Before
Even if
this
that's
year,
the
it
case,
wasn't
that
possible.
helps him because he was one-dimensional and he was still averaging fucking 30.
Yes,
that's
yes.
what fucking
That's
helps
why
him. And he's an elite playmaker too.
But
You're
SGA
on some dumb shit.
Who's from all three levels? Even with Giannis out in that mid range,
Okay,
SGA
he's
is
a
more
fucking
efficient
guard.
from mid range.
He's a
SGA is a better
guard.
finisher.
He
He's
better
more
be.
efficient
He
from
should
out the rim.
be.
He drives more per game. He leads the NBA in drive. Who's a better 3-point shooter?
Luka's just casually
from
killing
three
you.
from all three levels. SGA is better
As a
scoring
scorer,
the
yes.
basketball.
So the only thing that SGA does better is score the basketball. That's what you're saying to me?
That's a big thing.
That's the only thing he does.
Most
And
important
even
part of
still,
the game?
Giannis averages 30. That's what you're telling
31.
me? No. So that's what you're saying. So even still, the only attribute that he has over Giannis is scoring, and even
Efficiency,
still,
yeah,
it's a
efficiently.
2-point difference.
Basically,
so
yeah.
defense, you're taking Giannis. Passing, playmaking, you're taking
it's
Giannis.
smart about
Rebounding,
Tatum.
you're
So
taking
it's how
Giannis.
Tatum.
Okay, so that's
Well,
interesting.
rebounding, yes, he's a 7-foot
Oh, so it's
guy.
the same thing for shooting the basketball.
bro.
So
What do you
yeah,
mean?
SGA
Kevin
should be better
Durant
at
is his
shooting
size
the
and can shoot
basketball.
that well.
Oh my
I
god.
would say SGA shouldn't be a better finisher, but he is a better. He's the best finisher.
He's
in
the most
basketball.
efficient.
He's an
So-
anomaly, you know what I
So
mean?
is he a
When it
better
comes to
finisher?
that,
That's a real anomaly right there.
Who's a better finisher, him or Jokic? Statistically, it's SGA,
Statistically,
correct?
SGA is
No,
the
Statistically, it's
SGA's the
SGA.
best finisher in the game.
So is SGA? Oh, so are we just saying like he's the all-time the great finisher type
Yes,
shit?
he
No,
is.
but
Yes,
I'm
he is.
wondering like what number are we saying?
Season.
He's the best finisher in the game right now.
Like, so statistically, he's a better finisher than LeBron James. Is he a better finisher than
Statistically.
LeBron James?
Right now, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, at the age of 40, of course.
I'm sorry, but yeah, for sure. Right now,
proving our
I'm
point.
saying prime LeBron, probably not. But like, even then, you still factor in how he can get to the rim, his wiggle in
Absolutely.
between, like the tough shot
It's
making.
scoring.
There-
Absolutely.
listen,
I'm
and
conceding that.
The point per game
And he don't
gap.
got the athleticism like everybody else.
The
you know?
point per game gap
pretty
doesn't
athletic.
represent the
6'6",
skill gap
oh.
in both of their offensive repertoire.
There we go.
It doesn't.
Skill gap.
The dribbling,
Bag time.
maneuvering
Bag-
around
yeah,
defenses.
bag-
dribbling,
Bag
the dribbling,
time.
considering
There we go.
Giannis is
Two
fucking
bucks.
7 feet tall. Of course,
got a
SGA is a
better bag.
better fucking ball handler.
Who's halfback dive, man?
Obvious.
Fucking
Obviously.
Jesus.
Just like you mentioned rebounding. We're just mentioning categories, right? SGA, the gap between them scoring is not a 2-point difference. He has more of a repertoire. That's why he's harder to guard in the playoffs because he can hit the mid-range. He's taking more threes. He's an efficient 3-point shooter. He can
So
get to the basket at will, even with
this
no spacing.
idea of the player you're talking about, Giannis, is not this player that he was in 21 when he was a Finals MVP.
The idea is, can he stay healthy in the playoffs? That's the idea.
now, good for you for saying that now.
I've been saying that.
No,
you just haven't been
no,
listening.
the loudest
I've
thing you
been
said that
saying
you could get schemed up
I
against.
said
You were
both.
very loud.
I said both.
Just
I
like
think-
you are right
do-
now.
Do I
Let's
think,
ask the fans.
Do I think, is it easier to scheme up against Giannis in a series than SGA? Yes.
So let me
it
ask you a
is.
question. You said SGA has been better than Jokic this season. Is SGA better than Jokic?
Fuck no.
No. So I've said SGA has had a better season than Giannis. Does that mean he's better than Giannis? No, it does not.
That's because Jokic has won 3 MVPs in the last 4 years.
I understand that.
He just won an NBA Finals 2 seasons ago. He's done more in the past couple of years than Giannis has done. Giannis has not been to the playoffs in 3 years, and in the past 2 seasons,
Not played in the playoffs.
SGA in the last 2 seasons has been a better player than Giannis.
Yeah, no, the last 2 seasons, I watched SGA, albeit first team All NBA, similar to Giannis, make it into the play-in, lose. I watched last year be the first seed, was amazing, lost.
But he was elite.
He was amazing. Giannis has been amazing too.
Did they lose because of SGA in the second round?
And did they lose because of Giannis?
No.
So then what's the point of that statement?
My point is that I think SGA right now is a better player than Giannis.
So then if that's the case, he's a better player than Jokic.
No, it doesn't. Because I don't think Giannis is better than Jokic.
I'm not saying that either.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with that. You got to explain that one.
No, it's so SGA's second best in the world. Stamped.
There we go. This the questions we need to ask.
Right now, absolutely.
No, okay,
Absolutely.
right now you're saying that
Absolutely.
he's the best player right now. So why isn't he one?
Absolutely. No,
So say that.
He's having the best season. But I literally just said in this episode, SGA has a conversation, has an argument
if he wins
for the
MVP,
best in
is
the
he the
world.
best in the league?
So
if he
so
was the
SGA's better than
MVP
Luka.
with the playoff run, absolutely.
SGA's better than Luka.
What's the playoff run?
Yeah, like
SGA's better than Luka. No, let's really break it down. SGA's
yeah.
better than Luka. Yes, he has to be.
You
This
just
year,
had
yes.
SGA. You
This
said
year,
Luka
yes.
before.
This year, he's been better
This
than
year, yes,
everyone.
obviously.
He's been better than
Obviously.
everyone.
Obviously.
So does that mean he's better than Luka? Yes or no?
I'm still going with Luka. I'm still going with Luka. I'm still going with Luka.
You just admitted fucking 10
broke-
minutes ago
you
that
broke your
Luka was
argument.
4 and
No.
SGA was 3.
wasn't
You just
consistent.
admitted that.
But the
wasn't
numbers don't
consistent.
matter because what did I say to begin this, Riv? I said that there are 4 players that I think have an argument to be the best in the world any given season. That's Jokic, Giannis, SGA, and Luka. Did I not say that?
But that's not what he asked you.
Luka right
don't know how
now,
Tatum's not in
Luka
that
right now,
conversation, man.
coming back from his injury. Obviously, SGA is much better, but Luka, for the totality of his career, what he deems offensively,
That's not what he asked you.
That's all I'm
the,
saying.
That's not what he
thing,
asked you.
the thing is with Luka is
Get
that
that second round. Get
the
that
thing is
second
with
round.
Luka is that defensively he's
One
not
doesn't
as good
move
as
me.
SGA. We know
Win two
that,
at least.
or Giannis.
Down
But
moved.
the way he can dictate a game offensively with his playmaking
No,
and scoring.
You don't have to explain. But I want to say this to play devil's advocate because I've been sitting here laying with my pillow because my mouth hurts. Drew asked you, SGA or Giannis, right now, flat out. You said SGA. Then he asked after that, so you think SGA is the second best player in the world. You said with a firm yes. Then he asked you, okay, so Luka or SGA.
We fucking
then
got
that's
him.
when you didn't remain
I don't know how you
consistent.
can put Luka
It is
over him.
consistent. You want to know why?
I don't
because
think it is.
Giannis, over the last 2 seasons, I've said SGA has been better than Giannis.
You can say
For
that
me,
about SGA.
that's how I feel. This year, SGA has been better than Luka.
Comfortably.
Last year, Luka
lot of
had
players
an
better than
argument
Luka.
for the best in the world. Last year, Luka was better than SGA,
but SGA had the
both
same
in the
argument.
regular season and in the playoffs. So SGA versus Giannis, the last 2 seasons, I put SGA. Luka versus SGA, the last 2 seasons, it's more of a tie. And I lean Luka because of
get
last
that.
year.
I get that. Here's where you're fucking up at. Once again, he asked you, SGA or Giannis. You said SGA. He asked you after that. So SGA is the second best player in the world. You said yes. Then he asked you, SGA or Luka, and that's where you fucked up because you should have remained consistent. You said SGA was the second
right
best
now,
player in the world.
SGA is better than Luka. Yes.
So I'm confused.
He's playing better than Luka. Yes. Right now, yes.
everybody is.
Yeah, but not everybody
he's
is.
been the best. SGA's been the best.
Yes.
Jalen Brunson's playing better than Luka. Who's better?
But
Yo, oh my fucking goodness.
But Brunson and SGA, that's a
into a
different
bag.
conversation.
No, but that's what he's
That's
referring to. That's what he's saying to.
This is
He's
the
saying,
difference.
No, I'm saying he's saying SGA may be having a better season than Giannis. That's a
is.
fact. We
Yes.
all believe that
Yes.
comfortably. But that doesn't necessarily correlate to being a better player. Remember when you told me when Steph and Trey, you was like Trey Young was having a better season.
Oh, what a day that was.
But then Steph is still a better player. That's where I'm just playing that. I'm not saying he's right or I'm saying that's where he's going with
this is where I feel like what I just said you didn't listen to.
no,
I
listen.
said over the last 2 years, I
sure.
believe SGA has been better than Giannis.
That's
I
not
don't-
a fact,
Okay,
though.
but
It's not a fact. Was SGA flat out better than Giannis last year?
You're asking me. This is how I feel.
Okay, get into this fucking dumb.
SGA, I felt like over the last 2 seasons has performed better than Giannis.
Okay.
Last year, I even posed the question to you: is SGA better than Giannis because that's how great he was playing last year. This year, he's been on a different level even compared to last year. Last year, Luka was better than SGA, and Luka hasn't had the opportunity to get into his groove this year because he's been battling with injuries. Right now, is SGA better and playing better than Luka? Absolutely. Overall, do I think Luka is a better player than SGA? Yes, because this year, I can't just unfairly judge him off a year where he's been injured almost the entirety of the season.
You know what's nuts? Giannis's best year, you could argue, was last year.
Wait, so is that unfair to Giannis?
You could argue last year was Giannis's best year of his career.
It's different.
You could argue Giannis was the best version of himself. 61% from the field, 30%, 30 points per game.
He was nuts.
And that team last year for the Milwaukee Bucks, can we be transparent?
Wasn't great.
Was it good?
So wait, does this matter?
How many head coaches did they have last year?
7.
Does this matter to you? MVP voting from last year. First place votes. Joker had 7, obviously. SGA had 15. This is last year. SGA had 15.
Over Luka last year?
Yes.
Yeah, SGA had 15.
Yes,
Luka
SGA
had
did finish
4,
second.
Giannis had 1. So does that matter to you at all? That Giannis was right behind a guy like Luka in MVP room, but they were both behind SGA.
Well, it does matter when we're talking about here. We're not, we're shouting and we're being loud, but this isn't disrespectful to Giannis because I begun this by saying there are 4 players that on any given year can be the best player in the world.
They went to
It's
go say it was an
Jokic,
idea.
Luka,
That's where I got
SGA,
angry.
and Giannis. It's because we haven't seen Giannis in the playoffs for 3
And last year,
years.
you're saying SGA was better than him.
two
When
days on
Giannis
the
was
believe so.
arguably,
Championship,
when Giannis
though.
was arguably the best version of himself. He was arguably the best version
Like
of
we
himself.
have not seen
Giannis
SGA get the
was
finals.
amazing
We've
last
seen
year, but
Luka
we didn't get to see it in
cooked
the playoffs.
finals.
So here's the thing: MVP voting.
just-
If we're talking you and I right now,
Because both of them didn't play in the playoffs.
I just don't know how Giannis is an idea. That shit's fucking nuts.
that
to me.
is insane.
That's
And
nuts
off
to me.
this voting,
Yeah, the idea
you
of
and
him playing the
Joel,
playoffs.
we're here. Off that right there, to me, that means nothing. That means nothing to me because you and I have spoken and we've
Luka has a
agreed.
media bias.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to go that route. I
Media
want to
bias.
say
Not no more with the Lakers.
Okay,
but.
that too.
What's
What
the
I
media
want to
bias?
say is Luka was our MVP. He was our MVP. So Luka having the 3rd most first place votes, I'm not even acknowledging that. I think Luka was in conversation for best in the world last year. He should have been the MVP. He was amazing. I think SGA had more votes because he was the first seed and the breakout team. And on top of it, he was incredible. That means nothing to me. Him being second place first for MVP means nothing. Giannis was one of the best players in the world. He was top 3 at worst, at absolute fucking worst. His team was terrible. You look at the grand scheme of things. You got the worst version of Dame so far, and while he's been a superstar. His third best player was Chris Middleton.
coaching.
He was barely playing. Brook Lopez last year was a shell of himself.
Terrible coaching.
And then the coaching he had 2, and he
good.
shot 61% from the field, and they call him one-dimensional.
And both of them didn't
But we
play in the
know what he
playoffs.
does on playmaking, and you look at how bad that defense is. He's holding it down by himself. To say that SGA was flat out better than him, come on, Joel. Come on.
I thought he
Come
was
on,
better than him
Joel.
last year. I'm not saying, it's clear as day. SGA was way better. I don't think I've ever made the statement on this episode that I just said, SGA clears Giannis. He's
said-
so by
you said
far
stamped.
way
You said
better.
stamped
It felt like
second
You
You
best.
said
to me-
stamped, and you said he was an
no,
idea.
to me, last
No,
year,
this is a conversation with Joker, and I feel
what
like we
I've
haven't
said,
said that about
what
anybody
I've said is that SGA last year was better than Giannis, and this year he's been better than Giannis. Last year, Luka was better than SGA. That's why it was tougher for me to put SGA over Luka because I still believe in Luka. When this year has just
Luka's
he
Luka.
hasn't
So
he's
Luka or
been
Giannis?
hobbled. Luka,
But Giannis this year has been better.
yeah, but last year Luka was better.
So it's
So
1-1.
it's 1-1.
Yeah, but like I said, Luka this
year
year
prior-
has been
what
hurt.
what I've come to learn, Riv,
But
is
Giannis
that
been hurt.
if there's a tie, Luka
in the
wins.
playoffs, not in the regular season.
But you're not giving him the grace for that.
You're not.
What grace for not being healthy in the playoffs?
If Giannis is healthy against the Pacers, do they win that series? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why are we holding it against him?
I'm not holding nothing against him. Like I said, this all began when I said there are 4 players.
No, it
that
began
can-
when you said it's an idea. This began. We started getting angry
Yes,
and
definitely got angry
yelling
about
was
when you said it's an idea.
The idea. And Riv, what did I mention with the
No, you
idea?
didn't.
I mentioned 2 points that
you
you've
didn't.
just been stuck on one of
That's
them
a
that I
fact.
mentioned.
That's 2 things can be true.
I
You
agree,
did mention
yes.
both. They did get aggravated. And we do it all the time. They heard that point and ran with it. And they were like, no, we don't like that point. It
there's
happens.
no idea with
It happens.
Giannis.
But you said both.
I never said, the idea of Giannis, how will he perform in the playoffs? I never
You've
mentioned
talked
that.
about how he got schemed up against in the past.
Versus the Heat when he played
And
2
I
years ago,
said that.
they won the game that he didn't play in.
Yes,
when he
but
was on the floor, the
lost
offense
in
looked
game
more
5,
sluggish.
He had 40
Yes, but
and 20. That's not an idea. That's concrete fact.
Here's the thing. My thing is not, I'm not questioning whether or not Giannis can perform in the playoffs.
We gotta keep it pushing.
No, football's trash.
I'm questioning if he is going to play in the playoffs. That's what I'm questioning. It's the idea of Giannis. When's the next time we're going to see him in the playoffs healthy at his best? Because we haven't seen it in 3 years.
To be fair, last year it was kind of a freak injury, non-contact. He went down the year prior. He played in a couple of those games. He wasn't 100% himself, but he was playing in a couple of those games. It's not like this dude has just been completely out of the fucking league. It's not like he's at an Embiid level.
I know we know he's not out the league.
And I was going to say, it's not really 3 years. It's 2 years. It's really one. It's really one.
Because last year he was done completely.
He got hurt. He didn't play. In the series versus the Heat, he tried to come back. He did come back, and he got eliminated while being 40 and 20.
When's the last time he played in a full playoff series?
2022.
That's 3 years ago.
And he was good as fuck.
I know, but I'm just saying.
And then against the Heat, he missed one game.
I'm saying
he missed a quarter, 3 quarters. So one game and 3/4.
Yeah,
he missed a
like
game
that.
and 3/4.
Yes,
like
in those 3 years, really 2.5 years, because it's like the 2021, 2022 seasons really. I think that playoffs, was it in the year 2023?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in that
Heat
time
series,
frame, Jokic has won an NBA championship being the most dominant force in the league.
Absolutely.
Number one.
In that time, he's won multiple MVPs, I
This
believe.
is why he's at a seat of his own, by
Yes.
the way.
Luka Doncic, I thought should have been MVP.
Okay.
He has
got all NBA.
But
his
he led
accolades
his
are
team to the NBA Finals.
Did we just add should have won MVP to his
We
accolades?
did. No, we did.
I'm not going to say should
I'm
have, but
crying.
first team All
also,
NBA.
There we go. Yep,
also led his team to the finals, but not.
I was going to say, because then you could say Embiid has Jokic's MVP.
Because in 2022, Tatum didn't lead his team to the finals. He got embarrassed in the finals. I just want to make sure we're consistent with what we do. Like, Luka got
He did
embarrassed
lead his
in
team to the finals.
We do say
Nobody's
that.
taking that
You
away.
asked me,
Definitely say that.
2022 MVP. That boy has a conversation.
Tatum led his team to the finals. Nobody's taking that away from him. But in that time frame, Jokic has dominated the league, and Luka has led his team to the NBA Finals. Time has passed where these players were able to cement themselves more with Giannis kind of being out the picture because he hasn't been in the playoff picture.
I don't think they're cemented.
Well,
They could be in the
Jokic has kinda-
conversation.
he-
Jokic
Jokic
obviously.
This is why
but Jokic
I say the
is
Joker
cemented.
is by
Those
himself.
other twos, 2,
Yeah, but
3, and
this
4.
is where-
There's no one cemented
This
there.
is where it's always changing because now this year,
Nothing has changed for the Joker,
now
by the
this
way.
year we have SGA who's front runner to win MVP.
But what hasn't changed? Look, no, you're right. You're right. Yes, you're right. We have changes where last year we had Luka, who was dominant. This year now we have SGA was dominant. What hasn't changed in the past 3 or 4 years though?
Jokic
the
is
Joker
still dominant.
still
Yeah.
by and far away.
Absolutely.
Shown you that none of these dudes can fuck with
Absolutely.
him.
But here's the thing: is like Jokic has remained dominant and a force in the league, but the other guys, really mainly SGA, has just taken his game to a different level to where he's playing at such a high level. So you're saying, listen, if he has one of these runs, he can close the gap. He's been that phenomenal.
So can I ask
Yeah.
you a question? Because this is low key where it all comes back to. Is there something that Jason Tatum can do to pass Giannis?
Yes, I said he has to have a phenomenally great playoff run.
So here's the thing. I'm being honest, and maybe I'm being hard-headed. Unless Jason Tatum averages an efficient 30 to 33 points per game, because that's what Giannis has given me. That's what he's done. A 30 to 33 efficient.
Giannis is never.
I really want to harp on that. Well, what do you mean by that?
the efficient part.
2021?
He wasn't efficient.
He had 50 in the game 6.
In that series, he shot like 45% from the field.
Against the Suns?
Even he
I'm
was
talking the totality. My fault.
Okay,
Pardon
regardless.
Me. Pardon me.
He shot 46%, 34 points per game. Fine. And that's without Chris Middleton.
I thought you were talking about
I understand. We're here.
2022.
Jason Tatum legitimately has to do that. For me to even consider the idea that it's possible for him to be above Giannis.
Yes, and that's what we're talking about.
Can he do that is
yeah.
what I'm asking.
Can he do that? I don't have much faith that he will.
Okay.
Because
If he gets to play the Knicks, we got 5-6 games against the Knicks. He could put up
obviously.
40.
No, but here's the thing.
He went up
really
against
stat
an
pad.
injured Cavaliers. He went up against an injured Indiana. He went up against, some may argue, an injured Dallas,
Giannis
and he was
played-
inefficient.
What he played? Atlanta. He played Brooklyn. He played Phoenix. And who was in the first round? That
Tatum
Miami.
did give you 30, 11,
Miami.
6
It was
against
Miami.
Indiana.
His worst series by far was Miami.
If Tatum plays an 8th seed, like if he plays like Orlando and then he plays New York and then he plays the Cavs, that's better competition in 2021.
But
And
that Phoenix team was really good, though.
It was, but we all knew like
I'm with you.
it was still something funny about that team. And then if he goes to the finals, he play OKC, his run will be better. So if he just plays great,
That's what I'm saying. You didn't ask me if Tatum will do. You asked me what can he do,
Facts.
and I do. There is a pathway that exists because Tatum is the 5th best player in the world.
Show.
He's not quite in that top 4 group that I mentioned and I laid out to you, but he
stop with
can.
this
He
Luka
can.
shit,
He
man.
can get there.
Giannis for that entire 2021 run was efficient.
What was it?
He averaged 30 points a game, 13 rebounds, 5 assists.
So you got 4 people
on
in the same
57%
tier?
from the
I
field.
was thinking of 2020.
Any given year, that could be the best player in the world, depending on a playoff run. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I just see the world differently than you.
There's a 4.
I see it as I see Jokic #1. It's gonna be hard to fuck with him. Then we got the rest of the world.
So,
we could talk.
Jokic is #1. It's going to be hard to fuck with him, in your words. Giannis,
That was
we know that
derogatory.
Giannis, he's a multiple-time MVP. He's a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year. If Giannis makes a deep
stupid.
playoff run, you're telling me there's no way that he could be over Jokic?
In your words, no.
In your words, no.
I never said that Giannis can't touch Jokic. I never said that.
No, I'm saying you have to. You just laid it out. The last 4 years, your Joker has been the most dominant
Yes,
player.
but if Giannis this
How
year
year,
often do
don't
we
do it.
see someone go from the 4th best player in your eyes right now? Right now,
That's a
Giannis is the
fact.
4th best
yes,
player,
but they're
correct?
tiers. It's not like
And we
just
have to assume the Joker is going to play good. Because if
not-
he also plays great.
It's tiers. It's not just like, 4 is so far away from 1. No, I think 4 is closer to 1 than it is to 5.
Even
I
though
think
Jokic is peaking offensively,
I think
like very
Giannis,
few
Luka,
ever.
and this year are closer to Jokic than they are to Tatum.
Oh, that's fucking cat as
Yes.
hell.
It's insane.
Oh my
It's insane.
God, no, not Luka,
Hell no.
Why not Luka?
and not SGA.
No.
No.
Thank you, Riv.
No.
So maybe you could talk sense to me. I'm just a Boston guy.
I'll give Giannis the respect. He's
Yes,
2-time
yes,
MVP.
yes. DPOY, Finals MVP.
You have the accolades for sure. You're already a Hall of Famer for sure.
Retired
You're
today,
top
100%,
25
no
all
doubt.
time.
So you're doing this off of accolades, not just of watching them play.
right now, watching him play, Giannis is still amazing.
Right now, watching them play, the Joker is comfortably ahead of all.
Right
them.
now,
With
watching them
SGA
play, SGA is comfortably ahead of
I'm about to say,
Tatum for the last 2 years.
I'm about to say right now, the Joker is comfortably ahead of them. Right now, SGA is comfortably ahead of them.
Comfortably SJ this year for sure.
But to act like Luka is comfortably ahead of anybody right now, based off the season, is fake crazy.
And last year's finals.
Yes, but Luka, I'm thinking.
it a rest.
I'm
I'm not.
thinking
You
guys
about
were
Luka at his
overwhelmingly better.
best.
He was dog shit.
You guys were overwhelmingly better, and if that's what you want to say, Jason Tatum was not that good.
I think Tatum was average at best.
He was the 3rd
I
best
thought
player
Luka
in
was
the
fucking
series.
bad.
You think Luka at his best is close to Tatum?
Luka at his best
Yeah,
is closer to Tatum.
it's close to Tatum.
At Tatum at his best.
Yeah.
I think if the Joker's at his best, Luka's at his best, Tatum's at his best. Luka is definitely closer to Tatum, but it's still a gap. It's still a gap.
nuts,
I'm with you, Rick.
No, that just speaks on how good
I
I,
understand.
think the Joker
Jokic is amazing, but bro,
he might be
playmaking,
top 10 all
scoring-wise,
time
Like
right now.
this is the
He
thing.
is.
You can say all you want about how I shit on Luka. All this.
You do.
Like
You're a
there
hater.
is. If your game plan is to go after 77, that's how we're gonna fucking win a
That's the
championship.
same thing for the Joker, though.
I was
I
gonna
know,
say,
but
look at this game
when
versus the
when
Lakers.
yes,
we
but
were hunting.
when Joker won his championship, he wasn't dog shit on
He wasn't.
defense.
He wasn't.
He was fine.
But
tired.
he had a lot of
Big
great
ass.
defenders around him. Plus, his job is easy.
Well, last year,
I'm
look at
not
the
going to
defenders
disagree.
around
I'm not
Luka.
going to
Holy
disagree.
shit.
But here's the thing: you're not bringing Jokic out on the perimeter constantly like you're bringing Luka out on the perimeter.
they
We
definitely
talk
tried to.
about the Bucks run. The Nuggets run played a young pup Timberwolves team in the first round that barely scraped into the playoffs.
Oh, now we're gonna
Better than
belittle.
Miami.
We're gonna belittle Jokic's playoff run.
we could talk about
They
damn near
faced-
every fucking final
Wait,
run
wait,
let's
and
do
belittle
this.
it if you
Hold
want
on.
to.
No, let's
Say
just
that
talk
again?
about the run.
Young pup,
Yeah, the Timberwolves.
Clippers injured. Keep going.
Okay, I'm just talking about
Clippers
the
injured.
Nuggets
Keep
run
going.
right now.
Miami Heat for the Bucks.
These are the facts. The Nuggets in their finals run didn't beat one 50-win team. All teams
They beat
were
LeBron
in the
James and the
40s.
Phoenix was good,
Lakers.
Phoenix.
They
Ayton
swept us,
got,
actually.
Ayton got hurt, and he was, we know his effort problems.
but
and
Phoenix
stuff.
was good.
No, Phoenix, they had a godly-like performance from Booker. They weren't a good team. Shamit was getting
I feel like
starting
you
minutes
picked them.
against the Nuggets.
I don't
know.
think he did.
I feel like you did.
I don't think he did.
You've been high on Phoenix. That's why
You were
maybe
high on
maybe-
Phoenix at that
maybe
time.
it's the
Oh
alarm.
my God. Fuck.
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say.
know. I don't remember.
If I'm not, I don't want to say. Let me rephrase.
Yeah,
Chris
rephrase.
Paul got hurt.
I don't want to say you definitively picked them, but you thought that Phoenix team was really good.
Yeah, they were. They finished the season off. They won 7 games in a row when everybody was healthy.
For sure.
Chris Paul got hurt, and Ayton, I
Unfortunate.
think, hurt his
hurt.
groin
He
or
did
something
hurt
in that series as well. They had Jock Landale out there starting with
Yeah,
Landry
it
Shamet.
was pretty
You know,
nasty.
they beat Phoenix, and then in the conference finals they beat the Lakers, who they went on a run in that year. You know, that was when they made those trades and stuff. That was a good team, but do I think that, you know, in those series, any of those opponents had the personnel offensively with the players plus the spacing to match up with Jokic and make it consistently tough for him? I don't really think so.
Every game versus the Lakers was amazing.
And then in the finals, they faced the Heat, who
ignore it.
they had a Cinderella run.
No, the Heat, yeah, we could walk away.
They
Heat, you're
didn't
right.
shoot well.
Heat, you're right.
You know, so
But the real finals, was versus the Lakers.
the Giannis versus
And they
that
swept us.
Giannis versus that Suns team. That Suns team is better than any team that the Nuggets played on their run.
Lakers.
I don't know. That Suns team
The
was really
Phoenix
good.
team would wash that Phoenix team. The Phoenix team Denver played would wash that finals Phoenix team.
No, it wouldn't.
He's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, they would
He's
wash
right.
them. With Kevin Durant, they
They're
would
healthy.
wash
Yo,
Chris
them.
and
Paul's
we've
healthy.
spoken about it on multiple occasions. In
two-year-
the first round, hold on. In the first round versus the Lakers, they would have lost in 5.
That's a fact.
That Suns team would have lost in 5.
That's a team that played. Oh,
Yes,
what the? No,
yes.
no. We're not going to do is forget
Yes,
what they did.
injured
That's a
Nuggets
team that
team.
played
Yup.
injured Nuggets,
Wait,
injured
yup,
Clippers,
yup,
injured Lakers.
yup.
They went on an injuring parade.
The
That's got a headache.
final Suns team. The final Suns team is better than the first year Suns with KD team.
I
don't know.
They had Chris Paul, D Book, Mikal, Cam Johnson, Ayton.
I'm not moved.
Ayton was playing at his best.
I'm not moved. Kevin Durant would have fried him.
that
D-Book would
version,
have fried him.
the version that
I watched Brandon Ingram go ahead and give Mikal Bridges fits that year.
DeAndre
makes me
Ayton was
sick.
phenomenal that year. He was playing he was playing great.
He's a good player, yeah.
He was, bro. They benched Ayton for Jock Landa. That's how bad he was.
No,
That's
but it
his
was also
fault.
because it was a heart thing, like heart as
He
in
was putting
drive,
out
no
no
motor.
effort.
He was
That's
terrible.
on him.
I know, but I'm saying that Suns team I think was better than
That Suns
one.
team,
And
there was
also,
a chance they could have lost in the first round.
Yeah, because the Lakers are a tough matchup. It's not because they sucked.
And that's a team Denver swept.
That's what I'm saying.
Denver swept a good,
A little-
hot,
they were-
a good hot Lakers
the
team.
The
The
Suns
team was
swept
definitely-
Denver with MPJ and
Yeah,
Jokic
the
playing.
Joker was out there dolo.
It was Dolo.
MPJ played and Aaron Gordon played.
MPJ, he's a good player.
And that was
He's
Aaron Gordon
he's a
half the
Joker
season.
merchant.
They got him at the trade
He's
deadline.
a Joker merchant. At that point, he was a
I'm
Joker
saying-
merchant.
But I'm saying that Jokic, he didn't have Jamal Murray, but his other teammates he
All
had.
I needed to
they
do
got
was make it
swept.
6.
Well, he
That's
didn't
all
have
I needed
Jamal.
to do.
And
MPJ was there.
KCP wasn't there, but MPJ was good. He was good.
But Aaron Gordon again, half a season, and Aaron Gordon really figured it out that year following.
all I'm saying is
2
that
years following,
those
excuse
are
me.
two good players, and the Suns swept them. The Lakers were a
Aaron
very
Gordon
tough
even on the
matchup,
team in
and
21?
even in that first round matchup, like why do we always forget that Chris Paul got hurt? He hurt his shoulder, I think, in the very first game or game 2,
Think it was
and he
something-
couldn't dribble.
Think it was something like
We
that.
always forget that Chris Paul got hurt and he couldn't
Against
dribble.
the
Lakers in the first round.
But then against the Nuggets, he was the best player in that
no,
series.
I know, but I'm saying against the Lakers, he got hurt.
I understand. Well,
So the last 4 champions have all been Mickey Mouse runs.
Hey, whoa.
I mean, you always need
Golden
something to
State's
happen.
not.
It's
Chris Paul
not.
played all 6
Rob
games,
Rose
though.
hurt. Tatum had a broken
But he
wrist.
couldn't. He was
Chris
ass.
Paul played all 6 games.
He was ass. He couldn't dribble the ball.
Hey, man, you out there, you effective.
I'm
but
just
then,
saying.
no, he was ineffective. They won, and then against the Nuggets,
Let
I'm
me
back.
look at his numbers.
I'm back.
I'm stat watching.
You guys need to go back and like watch his injury and the way he was dribbling the ball. He
No,
couldn't
definitely, it was
dribble.
bad. It was bad.
He couldn't dribble. His
believe
arm
you.
was done.
I believe you. What about the Clippers?
The Clippers, no, they were unhealthy, and that was a tough fall series.
Because
if Kawhi plays, they probably beat them. I'm not saying that the Suns' run wasn't fraudulent. They didn't get lucky in their run. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm
knocking
arguing.
Denver.
I was gonna say I knew. Oh wow, Aaron Gordon was there. Excuse me.
I'm arguing that the Suns finals team is better than the Nuggets team that made the finals that faced Phoenix in the second
Yeah, I
round.
disagree.
Bro, that team wasn't
Michael
good.
Porter Jr. was dog shit.
I don't think
Yeah,
that
he played bad.
I don't think that Phoenix team was that good either. Like I think they were good. I think both teams were good. That 60 wins was fraudulent.
That was the year after. That was 22.
We're talking about a 2-year older Chris Paul at that time who got injured, and DeAndre Ayton who lost all motivation,
When was
and then
that?
nobody else.
That video that we have where you told me if Chris Paul swapped with Drew Holiday with Giannis, and you said they can make a finals run. What year was that?
That was probably the year leading up to his final year in Phoenix.
So that was the 2022 team.
Yeah.
So you still thought he was good.
Yeah, but then he was clearly washed.
Interesting.
Yeah, at that point in time. He was clearly washed at that time. That's when he dropped off with the Suns.
Yeah, he was not that good.
Interesting.
Yeah, but coming into that, the only bad moment he had was against the Mavericks once he turned 35 and he magically forgot how to play. But
That's the lead down to 40.
But in that year that they won 65 games, Chris Paul was incredible.
He was. That's when at the halfway point before he got injured, that was your MVP.
Yeah, he was incredible. And you look at now the Suns and how you look at how the Suns have spiraled out of control. Chris Paul is the biggest reason why they were that good. He was the most impactful player on that team.
Yeah. I don't agree, but I get what you're saying. I don't think both the Phoenix teams were far off.
That 23 team for the Suns was very strong.
I'd take Kevin Durant and D-Book over
They
Devin
played
Booker
the
and
Nuggets
DeAndre.
in terms of winning wise, I guess you could argue, because again, they won the most games against them, even though in the games they lost, it was all by double digits. But they played them the best.
They played them great.
I think who played them the best is LA.
Like, I
personally,
think
but
that
they got
Denver
swept.
team would beat the final Suns team in 5 games.
Okay.
Or potential sweep.
That's fair. I'm just saying, like, you look at the roster for that Suns team that lost in the second round to the Nuggets. They had no depth, bro. Josh Okogie was starting.
Yeah.
Like, they were ass. Outside of their top 2 players, they were garbage. With the Suns finals team, they actually had depth. Like, they actually were a very good team.
They can't be properly evaluated. It's unfortunate.
Like, I just think that Suns team wasn't good, you know, outside of the top 2, and then they got hurt. Like, they won 2 games against Denver because D-Book went God mode.
Yeah, Denver's defense will have that for you.
Devin Booker, that playoff series was nuts. That playoff run.
Playoff run was
Yeah,
crazy
first round, he
against the
was crazy
Clippers.
too.
My God.
Now we're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors.
Insane.
Because they acquired Jimmy Butler. They're 5-1 since acquiring him. And now we're looking at this team, Riv, as dark horse contenders.
I fear this is going to be another topic that you're going to get yelled at.
I would love you to go first.
Well, listen, I think they've been playing out of their minds. The win against the Mavericks was amazing where they blew them out because we saw before the deadline, you know, the one loss they have.
You told me on the playback the Warriors going to lose.
You know, the one loss that they had with Jimmy Butler was to Kyrie Irving because Kyrie Irving snatched Curry's lunch in that game.
You told me Kyrie was going to do it again.
he failed to show up. He didn't do it again. But
I was actually talking real greasy on that playback.
The Mavericks, they've beaten the Rockets, the Kings and Bulls, not great wins by any means, and they also beat the Bucks. They're 5-1. Curry's playing great. He's averaging 29 points per game.
Bucks Giannis.
No Giannis. Yep.
And Curry, he's looking back to
Steph
form.
out-meted
We have to see how consistent Steph Curry remains for the remainder of the season. But I think what makes this team so dangerous is that, number one, I think this season for the West is much like the West 2 years ago where the teams at the top lack experience. They lack playoff experience and not battle-tested. And that's something with the Warriors have. And I think with Jimmy Butler having 2 guys who can take over, and Jimmy Butler, we know he takes it to a different level in the playoffs, you have a team that has playoff experience. They have a well-rounded team. And now AirPods is playing really good too. You know, I think right now,
on AirPods,
OD.
he has the highest plus-minus of any player in the last 6 games. And he's rebounding well. He's finishing around the basket well. He's not shooting the 3-ball that well, but he's still playing really good basketball. Right now, I think this is a team that you have to watch out for. It is dangerous. But there are some players on it that we have to see if they can maintain a level of play, like AirPods. Quentin Post has been a fabulous addition. He's been playing really well. Moses Moody, when he starts, is averaging 13 points per game. So there are players here that they, outside of the big 3.
This guy's crazy.
No, I'm saying, like, Kurt play him. It's about fucking time.
We're here.
Yeah. Outside of the big 3, there's not many players here that have been in the playoffs with experience, but that's another addition. Jonathan Kuminga, what he provides as a defender, his athleticism, how he can roll to the basket, that's going to be big for them as well. I think the Warriors have a chance to make some noise. You know, when you talk about the playoffs, it's about star power, it's about experience. And the teams that have that in the West are OKC. They have star power, not much experience. Denver, Lakers, and the Warriors. Those are the big 4. You know, every other team in the Western Conference, you raise your eyebrow on them just a little bit.
Elaborate on make noise.
I don't know. Why should you raise an eyebrow at a team that has the best player in the world? 2 teams, potentially. I don't know why you should raise an eyebrow at OKC or Denver. I mean, they got the
I'm
best
not
in the
raising an
world.
eyebrow at them.
Oh, that's what you just said.
No, I'm saying you're raising an eyebrow at the young teams.
Oh, my apologies.
Like the
Well, no,
Grizzlies,
OKC,
like
I
the
thought
Rockets.
OKC usually gets lumped into that young team.
No, but I said young or star power. OKC has star power because they obviously got SGA MVP. But the Rockets, you don't trust in the playoffs. The Grizzlies, you don't trust in the playoffs. That's just the bottom line. The Grizzlies maybe can turn it around, and I think the Clippers are like a wild card in there, depending on what version of Kawhi Leonard that we get.
Another Harden versus
They're
Steph
kind of scary. Clippers scare me. I'm not going to say
the Clippers
they
are
don't.
being a little bit stepped on. They're under the radar, but no, I think the 4 teams that have star power and experience are the Lakers, OKC, Denver, and
gotta throw
then
the Clippers in
Golden
there.
State. And maybe
What
you
about
can,
the Mavericks healthy?
you can throw the Mavericks in
And
there.
you have to
healthy
throw the
too.
Clippers in there too.
Yes.
if you're throwing the
there's-
Mavericks, you got to throw in the Clippers.
We
I
got the
agree.
whole fucking West.
No,
damn
no,
near.
hey, no Ant-Man. Interesting.
They've been trending in the right
Yeah,
direction.
Julius Randle, if he
and
comes back,
they just
I don't
lost
know
back
what's
to
going
back.
on.
Julius Randle goes on the bench once he comes back. That's facts.
And then you have the star power of Ant-Man, the demon, you tell me.
the way now. It's
That's
the reason
the
why
same
the
time.
way
Ant-Man
the
can
way
outplay
Jaden
Steph. Why are
McDaniels
you
been
not in this
playing.
Oh no,
conversation?
he could outplay.
Yeah, so why
Jalen
you
Clark
not
will
in
be
this
healthy for a
conversation?
full series. Come on.
Joel, I really
Come on, man.
I hate that this episode's turning everyone
No, look,
against
if
you.
Randall comes off the bench and accepts
I
his
think
role,
he has to.
absolutely,
He has to.
absolutely,
He has to.
because
He won't.
the Timberwolves have been playing better without him in the starting lineup. They've had a much
So
more
much
spaced
better,
out lineup. The problem with Minnesota is the clutch time games. They have the
Really?
most clutch time losses in the league,
Interesting.
and that's because they get
Trolling
cold from
aside, I
three.
really like what I'm seeing from Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah,
He's
obviously,
playing really
because
well.
he's always had that offensive repertoire in him. Dell. He's just never had the opportunity.
Jinx is in, he's gonna start playing
last
like
year.
You know who's always had it too, Cam
I
Reddish.
give an inch, he
Facts.
takes a mile, man. Come
No,
on.
you see last year, Carl Anthony Towns, of course, you know, he's the
I'd
second
love to
option.
take
He
him out
does
from
what he
you,
does. But this year,
Don't get me upset.
Julius Randle, you know, you come in here and he's given the keys to the offense. He's given that freedom. You give that to Jaden McDaniels, and you see what happens.
Why does Minnesota struggle in the clutch? Just a quick question.
They get cold from three.
Ooh, interesting.
Warriors.
But
Warriors.
sometimes it's are you trying to blame it on Anthony Edwards?
No, I didn't say anything about that.
Okay,
man.
because the other night when they lost to the Rockets, he was making great passes.
He was 13 for 34.
But they were just missing. Jaden McDaniels missed like
my fault.
4
I
or
didn't
5
mean to say that.
34
My fault. I didn't mean to say that.
Jaden
My bad.
McDaniels
You
missed
triggered
like
me.
Jaden
Bro, you're
McDaniels
supposed
missed
to
like
be and
3
enjoy
to 4
basketball.
He
threes.
triggered me.
You dead word. Yeah,
Jaden
that
McDaniels
fell
missed 3 to
Have a
4 open
headache.
threes.
did?
Open
Aggravated.
threes.
He did?
Yes.
I'm not shocked.
Dude.
My fault.
He can't help himself, man.
I'm
He
not
really
shocked
can't.
he missed 4. Open, you said?
Did you watch Jalen Clark last night?
No,
He was
unfortunately, I was at an
playing, he was
open
playing
gym.
his fucking ass off.
I heard he's playing amazing. I was
he
telling
was
Drew I was box
6
score
for
watching.
6 before he got hurt.
Yo, I heard Ant played well.
I think he did for the most
Yo,
part.
SGA outmeted him again today.
Nah, that shit definitely played better than him.
Again.
Yeah.
I have not realized, and in the last 6 games, he's got 33 shots, 32 shots, 20. God damn.
Shoot him up.
Who else is gonna shoot on the
I
team?
know.
Nasri.
It's just fucking nuts, bro.
Nasri.
30 shots a game is fucking
13 for
crazy.
34. Man, Warriors. I'm glad you're back, man. I don't know how long you'll be here for, but
Might not be here long.
you might not. We might lose.
You really are a sicko. I have some fun stats. Super,
Talk to me.
Super
33
calm.
shots, 28 points.
I don't know if you already
It's
mentioned
real 90s vibe.
Steph Curry and how amazing he's been statistically, but in the last 6 games, he's averaging 29, 6 assists, 49% from the field, 40% from 3, 13
those are
attempts
all
a
with-
game. And what do you mean by this?
Those are playing with.
I don't know what you want me to say here.
Those are all those games have been with.
Oh,
who?
Jimmy Butler.
Zinger.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, the fact that people
Is Jimmy Butler a floor raiser?
I mean,
that goes without
thinking about it. That's
saying.
what- I gotta
Is
ask.
Curry a
floor
floor
raiser.
raiser? I mean, he they was spiraling downward before Jimmy Butler got there.
How does it make you feel?
Is Kevin Durant a floor raiser?
Oh God!
No,
Look, I'm
God.
trying not
No.
to target him, and I find myself
No.
getting ready.
No.
The Warriors team is fucking dog shit without Jimmy Butler. They're so bad.
You listen, and here's how
saw
bad they
Steph's
were.
on and off numbers.
Here's how bad
They're
they
up.
were.
Better
They were
LeBron's.
so bad that you doubted that a player as good as Jimmy Butler
Deadass.
can go to the Warriors and make them better. That's how bad they were.
Well, no,
pretty bad.
I didn't. I never doubted that he'd make them better. Obviously, I knew the
doubted
Warriors
Steph.
would be better.
You doubted
I never,
Steph.
I
That's
never,
a
I never, I
And
never
I get
said.
it being a Harden fan. You got that hate in your blood.
I never said the Warriors. Oh, they're not
said they're cooked.
better with Jimmy Butler.
You said
they're pretty
they're
much. They're
cooked.
pretty much are cooked for the.
You
yes.
called
And
them
then-
a top
and then-
three
Yo, what the
yeah,
fuck?
They pretty much are cooked.
Yo, I'm getting a headache. I
In the,
can't.
next,
I
in the
can't
next
be
2
yelling.
years,
Yo,
they're
Joel,
cooked.
what are
Yes,
you
they're
on
cooked.
tonight?
They're cooked. Yes.
Dude, you
In the
say
next
one
2
thing,
years.
say the other.
What are
They
you
gonna be
on
mine.
This is
tonight?
this is
Are you
this,
back or
thi-
not?
This is their all-in team,
No, he's
correct?
out.
This is their all-in team, correct? And I don't
the
want to
fuck else was he gonna
disrespect.
do?
I don't want to disrespect Golden State.
You did
This
already.
is their
He
all-in
did.
team.
You're in rare
They're-
form tonight.
They're playing.
man. Like,
they're
you're-
playing amazing. That's
you're
good.
in
No,
form
you guys
a lot.
feel
This is
listen,
rare form.
They're playing amazing. But can this team still lose in the first round? Yes.
I think what I'm most excited
Your
about.
mind.
How can we call them a top 3 team? And
What
hey,
I'm most
losing in the
excited
first
about
round?
is, listen, Steph's been playing better, right? You just read off the numbers. Jimmy Butler's been playing well, but they're getting back to playing defense. Like, this was a team at the beginning of the season when they started off fucking 12-2, whatever they were. Defense was elite. These last couple of months, it really fell off, right? Like, Steph wasn't playing well, and that was getting the headlines. But in the last couple of months, January, they're 25th ranked defense. December, they're the 19th ranked defense. these last 2 months, they had fallen off completely onto what had gotten them to such a high level that first month of the season that was defense. With Jimmy Butler here, I mean, again, we're talking about a 6-game sample size. They're 5-1, but number 3 defense in basketball. The offense has been great too. They're top 6 or 7, but they're getting back to that high level of defense. And Jimmy Butler has really impressed me on that side. So I do think, although, wrong matchup, first round, they can get bounced. But what they're doing right now, again, small sample, they can continue doing this. If they continue to play high level defense and Steph Curry has, a jolt into him because he has Jimmy Butler, and we know what Butler can do in the playoffs, this is a team that can be dangerous. They're not are they going to win a championship? No, but saying they're cooked, they're going to lose round 1 in 4 or 5 games. Depending on the matchup, they could get past.
They could sneak up on you a little bit. That's what it is. They could sneak up on you. They are dangerous because they have championship experience. That is a real thing. But right now, they have dug themselves into so far of a hole that the ceiling for them is what? Like getting the 5th seed?
You know what the team's reminiscent of? And it's kind of scary for me. That 2023 Lakers team. At the trade deadline, they're desperate. They need to make moves. They go ahead and they make what they think are needle-moving moves. They go and they bring in Vanderbilt. They bring in D'Angelo Russell. That's enough for them.
They should be happy for that team.
Here's the difference. Oh, 100%, but that's exactly why I'm worried, because we were in a similar fight where we were really fighting in that play-in, and we were only able to make it to the 7th seed. The fact that you're even saying it's possible, that it's even possible to reach the 5th seed, but it's not like you're getting a Vando or you're getting a D'Lo. No, you're getting Jimmy Butler, who still at his best is a top 20 player.
Well, that's the thing is that
that's what's scary.
They need a couple things to break their way. Right now, they just need a fight to be higher in the seeding. If they're the 5th seed and they run into Memphis or Houston in the first round, I pick Golden State without thinking twice about it. I don't even have to think about that. I mean, the Rockets are very young. All respect to them. They're overachieving this year, and we know what Memphis is. Hopefully, John Moran scores 30, so you could tweet again in that time. Maybe it'll be in that playoff.
Hopefully, it happens for the playoffs.
I definitely will. I'll get it.
But the matchups I worry about with Golden State,
garbage time or not,
which another match, it's unlikely. Dallas, it's unlikely they play each other, but that's the matchup I worry about. I worry about OKC. I worry about Denver. And the Lakers, that could be a high, potent offensive series, but they have Luka and they have LeBron. I think they'd win.
And we
that
have
series.
their number.
Yeah. So those are I worry about those matchups. So the Warriors, yes, they're playing some great basketball, and you have to worry about them. And if they do get the right matchups, they could make the second round of the playoffs. And if a couple more things they break their way, maybe the conference finals. But this is a team that's older. It is their last rodeo. And we're just going to see how far they go. They've got some good additions from Moses Moody. AirPods is playing some really high-level basketball, but you've watched them the entirety of the season, and to you, this might just feel like a blip in the radar and not what he's actually going to be. So we have to see. But the Warriors, they are a dangerous team. They can sneak up on a team. If you're OKC, this is not a team you want to play in the first round. If you're Denver, you don't want to face them. This is very much a team that they're going to give you a very tough battle.
I agree. I think with pods, I'm just living in the moment, man. I don't want to
take it one day at a time.
Take it one day at a time.
Are you happy?
Yes,
I love that for you.
I'm happy.
We now know why he was untradeable.
Is he back to AirPods?
I'm living in the moment, day by day.
I was curious.
You know what I'm saying? Same with Moody, living in the moment, day by day. You just play well, give me everything. Like just play your role, and I think that's been the most important part. Like everybody just been able to play their role. Steph Curry obviously playing well has been one of the driving forces of us being really great. Also, Jimmy Butler being super locked in on the defensive side. People question his motor. People question his drive. People question if he would come in and really...
Just makes no sense. Like, how could you ever question that?
And he got his bag. So now that he got his bag, he's super motivated, super locked in. He's been playing really well.
Sitting on Jimmy Butler. Why would you do that?
Now Draymond's back to being locked in. You get a super locked in Draymond. That's really important for the defensive side. JK comes back, so interesting to see how they mold him into the lineup.
Why are you convincing me that the Warriors can win a title?
I don't know about that. I think my whole standpoint has always been the same. Like, just give them a chance. Like, that's always been my thing. Give them a chance. Give them a fight to be in the playoffs, and they've done that. Like, no, we may not win a championship. That's fine. We have 4. Like, you don't need you just give them a chance to be in the race, and that's all I've asked. Everybody has a chance. Kyrie has a chance. He has AD. Luka and LeBron. You know, SGA and OKC over there,
Harden,
Denver.
Kawhi.
Harden and Kawhi. Like, damn, just give my brother a chance. You know, Ant and Rudy Gobert. Like, just give my son a chance.
Listen, you always said the duo wasn't Steph and Clay. It was always Steph and Dre. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but at some point, you need some
You reap
offensive
what you
help.
sow.
You need some offensive help because he had Clay with him before. So now,
Yeah,
If
Wigs.
this was Steph and Clay,
Love
not
Wigs.
Steph and Dre, they would have been at 14th right now in the West if Dre wasn't on his team.
there's never a point in time when Steph plays most of the season and they're 14th. I
If
want you to know
Draymond's
that.
not on his team and
There's
it's
never
just
a moment
Clay,
in time where
Yeah,
Steph is
okay.
playing most of the season
they
and they're
would be a
14th. There's
lottery
never a
team.
moment in time
It
where
would be a
Steph
lottery
Maybe
team.
11th.
No, he's not wrong though. It'd probably be a lottery team.
With Steph and Clay
Do you
right
know what
now,
14th
instead of
means?
Draymond,
That is the Utah Jazz.
You could
You're
be
being
12.
too literal.
You could be 12.
the
They
Utah
could
Jazz
be,
might be
they could be a
15.
lottery team. I seen with Steph and Dre that they aren't
A
a playing
week ago,
team.
you were the 11th seed.
We're fighting for a play. That's all. That's all I asked for.
The
14th
Suns
is
right now are the
ridiculous.
12th seed.
They suck.
Yeah, they do
They
suck.
suck.
Yeah,
They're
not
fucking
good.
dog shit.
They're not
You know
good.
who's on the
the
team?
Raptors.
Let me. You know what?
They
Kevin
lost to the
Durant,
Raptors. That was
you was
nasty.
begging for him at the
They almost
deadline.
lost to the Bulls too.
Who was begging?
You
for
was
him?
begging. You was begging on your knees praying
I
Kevin
was
Durant was
begging
coming
for him?
back. No, you weren't.
Oh, okay. I was begging for anybody. Like Zach LaVine, Brandon. I was on my knees for somebody.
I actually think that them getting Butler instead of Kevin Durant was better for them. Like, Kevin Durant is a better player right now, but I think Kevin Durant just doesn't have some of the leadership qualities that you want.
Lord.
The Suns right now, they're going through the motions.
That's a
To
perfect
say the
segue.
absolute least, yeah.
So Kevin Durant not being a leader is one of the reasons the Suns aren't good?
It's one of the reasons, absolutely.
Wow. Not that their defense is dog
That
shit.
segues perfectly into struggling Suns.
The Suns, I don't think Kevin Durant's the biggest reason for their struggles, but
He's been amazing.
you know,
this year.
you look at how the Suns looked with Chris Paul. Devin Booker doesn't have these leadership qualities either. Chris Paul had to be that for them. And when you just have two gifted scorers that they just like to score the ball, you know, they're not bringing those other intangibles that you need for a well-rounded team to succeed. But I think the Suns are struggling because the front office was just impatient. That's just the key word of these last couple of seasons. Do you trade for Kevin Durant 10 times out of 10? Absolutely. It was Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and some first-round picks. But the DeAndre Ayton trade was awful.
Horrendous.
They traded DeAndre Ayton and Tumani Kamara for basically Grayson Allen. That's the only player remaining from that trade on their team. Right now, Kamara's playing well. He's one of the best defenders on the planet. You could desperately insert him in this lineup with the Suns and Ayton, and they'd be really good.
Oh my God.
Ayton, even with the effort issues, is a 16-10 big at worst. And is he a great defender? No. Is he passable? Yes. And then you look at the Bradley Beal trade. You know, 4 first-round pick swaps, 5 to 6 second-round picks. You trade Chris Paul, who's a great leader. I understand he was washed with Phoenix, but strapping yourself to Bradley Beal, who has never been a winning player, is also not a leader by all the times that we saw him pout on the Wizards bench despite him wanting to be there, and he got paid knowing they're a losing situation, but you can't pass up that type of money. It was a death sentence for this team. You know, I think they haven't done a bad job filling out the roster, but when you have 3 guys that all play pretty much the same and none of them are trying to get the best out of one another, this is the result you get. It's one of the worst teams in basketball. Had they not made those moves, you're talking about a Suns team that has Chris Paul, Booker, Kamara, Durant, Ayton, and off the bench, Tyus Jones was a vet minimum signing. They could have still got him. Royce O'Neal, they could have still got him. Ryan Dunn, they could have still drafted him. Nick Richards, they just traded a second-round pick for him. They could have still got him. We're talking about a more well-rounded team who can actually be competitive in the West somewhat. But, you know, they made the bed that they're laying in it right now, and they were just too impatient with their moves. So, you know, the front office deserves most of the blame, and it's probably Matt Ishbia because he got impatient and he wanted a championship automatically, and he overvalued just how much of a franchise player Devin Booker is, and also how big of a difference Kevin Durant would make without those leadership qualities.
I think you really spoke nothing but fact right there. The offense, too, is so weird because obviously you have 2 of the best scorers on the planet, but like you said, they don't uplift one another. And Devin Booker really this season, if you ask me, listen, Riv, you call me out on it all the time saying that I said that Devin Booker's the best shooting guard in the league, and this year he's been far from that.
Hold him accountable.
It's been sad. It's been unfortunate. He's not been consistent whatsoever on the defensive side of the ball. There's nobody that is left for blame. Everybody deserves some type of acknowledgement there. This team really lacks any type of drive on that side of the ball. 26th in defensive rating. Any team that goes into their building, goes ahead and they put up points, shoots all over them, goes ahead and finishes at the basket at a high rate. They don't have great center play either. Nurkic getting traded off the team, obviously that was going to happen because Nurkic was such a negative. But it doesn't matter. This team's just devoid of talent, overwhelming talent. And I don't disagree with you because if you had Kamara, if you had Ayton, even Chris Paul at this old of an age who could be the presence in the locker room that you desperately need, Joel, you're spot on, truthfully. I mean, there's just no heart being played for the Phoenix Suns right now. And Kevin Durant, who I will never question his heart and his drive for the game, he's the one that I completely leave out of this, truthfully, because I think that offensively, night in, night out, he's giving you his best effort. But the fact that there's moments where we don't see him get an overwhelming amount of attempts because there's so many different mouths to feed, and it still leads to underwhelming basketball, there just needs to be someone of either Booker or KD. Realistically, it does need to be KD, but obviously, again, it's not his team. It's Devin Booker's team. And Devin Booker should be the one who understands, yes, I'm the guy. This is my team. This is my franchise. Kevin Durant came to play with me. I need to be the one to galvanize all the guys. And like you mentioned, Joel, that's just not who he is. He's just not that type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns right now, they're playing with fire, right? They're out of the play-in. They have the number one hardest schedule remaining as well. And they're not taking care of business, right? Before the All-Star break, they lost back-to-back games to Portland. They just lost a game to the Raptors. Before they lost a game to the Spurs without Wemby. They were in a dogfight down to the fourth quarter against the Chicago Bulls. So even against teams that we think they're clearly more talented than, they can't even take a business then. Like they do play some of these top teams close, like the Rockets and the Grizzlies. They were, within 7 or so points, but when it comes down to it, they haven't been able to really close the gap. It's on the front office and ownership, right? I mean, the KD trade, I agree with you, Joel. You make it 10 times out of 10, but when you also make a deal of that seismic proportion, you're giving up 2 young, good two-way players, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, plus 4 or 5 unprotected first-round picks. You're not, you're basically saying this is my core, right? Like Chris Paul, Ayton, Book, KD, we're going to have to make some pieces work, but this is the core we think can get us to the finals, can win us the finals. Just a couple of years prior, of course, they made that run. The year after, they had some injuries with Chris Paul and the Ayton question, and they make the trades and whatnot to try to round out that roster. But the Bradley Beal trade, that was really the nail in the coffin. Any chance they had, any flexibility they had to make roster moves around the edges basically went out the window there. And I remember when they made that trade, that was my first thought was, sure, Bradley Beal's a great player. Like, right, one-on-one, you'd rather have Bradley Beal than a lot of players in the NBA, especially at that time, the years he was coming off the Wizards, putting up crazy numbers. But it was also just so obvious that the fit was weird, right? When you look at all of the teams that are towards the top of the NBA now, like the OKC Thunder, for example, they didn't go and try to get some score first guard to pair with Shea. No, we're going to get Alex Caruso. We're going to get Isaiah Hartenstein. The Celtics didn't get some, big wing guy that needs the ball in his hand. We're going to go get Derek White and Drew Holiday. Last year, the Dallas Mavericks didn't get a ball-dominant scorer. No, they got P.J. Washington and Gafford. All of these teams that have been some of the most successful over the last couple of years. Obviously, Dallas is different now, but they all make moves to make their team better around their stars, to make them better around Luka and Kyrie and the Jays. The Suns just doubled down on what they already had. They just doubled down on a guy that's going to get buckets, going to get a lot of shots in the mid-range. But other than that, what's he really doing to uplift KD and Devin Booker? Obviously, if Kamara was, they knew what they had, they would have kept him. But also, would he have ever blossomed into the player that he is now in Portland, where he's getting all of these minutes, he's getting this opportunity? Because he would be an afterthought if he was with Phoenix right now. He would have a very small defined role, and for better or for worse, he would never be the player he is right now, maybe down the line, but not this soon into his career. So I do think, like you mentioned, Joel, it's impatience. And when you have the opportunity to get these big star name players like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, it's easy to be like, yo, let's go and get it, without sitting back and thinking, how does this team shape up with the rest of the league? How do these pieces complement each other? Instead, we're just trying to acquire talent, even though it doesn't really fit well.
Yeah, the Bradley Beal deal really hurt them. They haven't been able to recover, and it's gone from missing out on players to missing out on coaches too. Like you've brought in these coaches to try to build a foundation to try to build this system that you just don't have the players for. And I think the Suns right now are at a position where they just can't play defense. Like offensively, like Drew mentioned, sometimes it looks funny, sometimes it looks clogged up. Sometimes they get in these funks where they can't score for a while. And you would think that looks crazy, but Devin Booker hasn't been his consistent self. Bradley Beal is not the same player he once was for $53 million. And I think Phoenix is at this tough road where they had an opportunity to move KD at the deadline. KD has spoken that he didn't want to be moved at the deadline. You know, he didn't want to change teams in the middle of the season. With Phoenix, you don't have your draft picks. You know, so now you're sitting at a situation where you have Kevin Durant who's playing at the best. He's still playing at an elite level, a top 10 player. You have Devin Booker, who's now going to be coming off a bad season. How do you rebuild? You know, Bradley Beal still has that no trade clause. Yeah, you have Ryan Dunn. You know, you barely play him, so that's the weird thing about it. He's probably your best on-ball defender, and you barely give him consistent runs. You know, Royce O'Neal is a solid rotation player. You don't really have a quality rotation at bigs. You know, and your guards are spotty. You know, defensively they're not there. Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal's a nut-ass defensive guard trio. Phoenix has just had multiple years of malpractice in the front office, and I think you got to make the tough decisions this summer. Like this summer, you got to start, you know, swallowing that pill and making these tough-ass decisions. That's thinking about moving Kevin Durant. That's thinking about moving Devin Booker. That's starting the whole process over because there is no good avenue for this team, and there's a potential. There's a moment where you can move. You can let Kevin Durant walk for nothing and get nothing back for him. And I really, really, really doubt Devin Booker is going to be cool with just another repeat of a rebuild because that rebuild took a really long time for Phoenix last time. And, you know, you just failed him, essentially. You failed him. You failed Kevin Durant in building this team into being at least competent. Like, they haven't made a WCF. They haven't really come close. Like, they've made – one second-round berth? That's it. And it's been first-round exit and stuff. Like, yeah, it hasn't been good. So, last year, you know, you had a high seed. What was that, a 3 seed versus a 6 seed, if I'm not mistaken, or a 4 or 5, something like that. And you went out there, you got embarrassed by Minnesota. So, Phoenix has to, you know, this summer, look themselves in the mirror and realize what they are and make some hard decisions.
Will they, though? Will Matt Ishbia, with all of the moves he's made, really say, you know what, we tried, but... Because I think you're right, Riv. They should, right?
Kevin
they
Durant
should really
older,
entertain
Devin
it.
Booker gets older.
I think Kevin Durant is a lock to get traded.
I think he's gone too.
I think Devin Booker is going to be a tougher conversation. If it were me, I don't know if we can build a team around Devin Booker. He's already shown us that he can't be the very best player on a championship team. You know, so is it worth trying to make the play-in or the playoffs every year with him with like garbage scraps around him, or just starting over? I think the number one thing for Phoenix is that they got to just get their picks back. And if there's no avenue to get that, I can see them keeping Devin Booker. Because if they don't have their picks, there's really no way for them to even tank. So they have to have an attraction in the city that's worth buying a ticket over. Because once Kevin Durant leaves and D-Book's the only thing left standing, they're going to have nothing.
I think Kevin Durant there's a world where Phoenix could call Houston, hey, give us that Fred contract.
2 firsts.
Give us one young player. Give us our picks back. Maybe not all of them.
We're getting like 2, maybe.
Yeah, just give me like 2, you know, and we can work something out. And then boom, now you're like, all right.
The clip came up today on, I think it was before the season, Matt Ishbia saying 26 other NBA teams would trade their entire roster and all their draft picks for what we have right now.
Facts.
I'm just like, it's a tough look. It's like, I don't know if even Portland's doing that right now.
Yeah, maybe not Portland, but he said 26. So
yeah, Portland's one of the 4.
Probably. I mean, a lot of teams would trade for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
No, absolutely. Heartbeat. But I'm just saying the situation the Suns were in with all the contracts and lack of draft
Bradley
capital.
Beal can keep you in lottery.
Yeah, and Bradley Beal also has a no trade clause, so you're stuck with him for 2 more seasons. They're pretty much starting from the bottom, and it's a place that the Pistons have found themselves in for a long time. But this feels like the turning point for them. They're on a 7-game win streak. They beat the Clippers tonight. Cade Cunningham is solidifying himself to the point that, is there a world where he's first team All NBA? You know, he's putting himself in that conversation. I know that we have a lot of injuries, but he's without a doubt a lock to make one of the 3 All NBA teams. And
one of the first 2.
I look at, yeah, you're absolutely right. I look at the top 4 young players under 24 that I want to build my franchise around. Cade Cunningham is number 3. You know, I think he's just behind Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama. I know there's some debate about Cade over Ant that I wouldn't get into. I could definitely see the appeal of Cade's game. And then number 4 would be Evan Mobley. But I think what Cade's doing right now is absolutely fantastic. You know, carrying this roster. Finally has some good serviceable players around him. And I'm not going to act like this roster is completely bad because I think Tobias Harris has been really good in his role. So has Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and they play defense. That's the one thing about this team. They're an average offensive and defensive rating. They are competitive on the defensive side of the ball. I just think this is a major growth point for Cade. And, he was looked at as an afterthought because the situation was so bad. Even I overlooked him initially with the struggles, but now we see everything opened up for him, and he looks like one of the very best young players in the league. Like, you look at the duels that he's had with Trae Young. He's came out on top looking like the better player.
Him and Ant.
Yeah, him and Ant, they've had some duels, and Pistons have gotten the better of them. Nah, but the Timberwolves got playoff success, West Conference Finals, Anthony Edwards. Don't forget that. But no, Cade Cunningham is a special player, a special talent. And I think before the draft, this was the appeal with him, is that he can be an MVP level player. And right now is, I think, just the first step to him getting to that point. But, I remember there was a point in time where, OKC declined to trade, sending SGA for the first overall pick and a player. And the first overall pick was going to be for Cade. And everybody thought OKC was crazy at that point. And SGA, of course, has become what he's become. But that's how heralded Cade Cunningham was. And now he's realizing his potential.
All right. Have you seen his nickname?
I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you're back.
I love watching him play.
You guys, have you seen Cade's nickname?
The Paradox?
The Paradox.
Or
I don't like that.
No?
He doesn't like shit he doesn't understand.
It's Cade motherfucking Cunningham. That's his nickname right
His nickname's Cade.
Cade motherfucking
His
Cunningham.
first
His
name.
name
It's
is
not
what the
nickname.
fuck?
It's his first name. If
Nicknames
Cade
are
says
dying.
government.
They're dead.
I don't know his government. I don't know if Cade's his actual government.
Let's see.
That'll be dope if it is. It's a cool ass name.
Nicknames have always been like that. LeBron's is Bron.
No, LeBron's is King James.
Yeah, but one of his nicknames is Bron.
Of course, that's shortening his name, but his nickname
Cade.
is
Straight
King
Cade.
James.
That's fire.
What, did you look at the nickname?
No,
Or
no,
just
I'm
his full
saying,
name?
if his government was something different.
Cade Cunningham Brown.
I don't know. I feel like the nickname
He's
has
only
to
got
come naturally.
Motorcade and Deuce.
That's a great nickname.
On his basketball reference.
Motorcade?
Deuce.
Is that because Deuce McBride owns him in college basketball?
No, I think it's I don't know, honestly.
No, Motorcade is a great
Motorcade I
nickname.
can warm up to.
I like that.
But I don't know if that's going to stick.
No.
No, the
I mean, it makes
Paradox.
sense.
Paradox stuff. Paradox.
Paradox is amazing.
Motorcade, he's playing for Detroit. Motor City. Motorcade.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
No,
one.
but the
to that
Paradox is some. You guys wanted nicknames like, yo, let's go back to the real deal, the big ticket, the answer, the problem, the truth.
The answer is the greatest name.
Oh, it's amazing. This is getting into that type of bag.
Have you seen why he's called the Paradox?
Explain it to me, please.
Because he's a great player on the Detroit Pistons. It's a paradox. At least these days.
That is fire.
Damn, that's fucked up for Detroit. Man, I'm glad you're back though, man.
But
had an up and down career with
here's
them.
I will say this, Joel, and I only say this because questions are questions. It didn't sound like you answered the question. Is he a superstar?
I think he's a superstar. I think, and he's one of the 4 young players you want to build around. If he's obviously not on the level.
You're making me cry. Bro.
He's obviously not on the level of those top end guys right now, but that's because those guys have had more years in the league. But you look at Cade and the way that he's trending, with the way he's leading the Pistons roster to one of the top 6 seeds in the East, you get him better players, better teammates around him, a better supporting cast. There's just no reason why I can't see the Pistons being one of the top teams in the East if they build around him correctly. I think Cade gives you a higher ceiling than Paolo being your best player or Franz being your best player. And we used to talk about Orlando like we used to talk about Orlando as being next up in the East. But I think the Pistons right now, they're kind of taking that spot because they have the most they just have the best young star. I think Cade is just that good, the way he can score. And this is the difference between him and Paolo, because Paolo's shot diet is 50% mid-ranges, and they aren't short mid-ranges. They're long mid-range shots that are inefficient shots. Cade Cunningham, a lot of his shot diet is from the mid-range, but it's the short mid-range. He's taking down smaller players in that post area, and he's getting more highly efficient shots. I think the finishing still has to improve, but the mid-range shot is excellent. The three-point shot is excellent. And the way he can dictate defenses, the month of February, he's averaging 11 assists with only 3 turnovers. The way that he can uplift an offense, there was a ton of comps for him coming out the draft. One of the main ones that people often refer to him as is Luka. And he can kind of control the game, not in the same way, but he has those qualities where he can uplift an offense in that way. So, Cade just needed shooters around him, and now we've seen what he can be, and he's going to get even better from this point.
Do I think he's a superstar? I think he can be. Do I think he's one currently? No.
Why?
Superstar is a strong word. That's all I would say.
Why?
I only say it's strong because don't you reserve that for like the top?
You don't.
Who have I called a superstar?
You called SGA a superstar last year before he made the playoffs.
He was first team All NBA. He deserved.
Cade could possibly be first team All NBA.
He's not going to be first team All NBA
There's
this
a
year.
small chance.
Who's the 5?
Okay, Tatum, SGA, Jokic, Giannis, LeBron.
That's a conversation.
LeBron has been one of the. You can argue he's been a top 5 player in the world this year.
You can argue Cade has been.
No, you can't.
You can argue Cade has been.
I respect you getting nasty though.
He
for
would
his
be.
boy.
He'd
not
be the
being
first.
consi-
He'd be the first player on the second team. At a
Second
minimum.
team All NBA. Let's say, okay, first team, maybe I'll get a little crazy. Second team, lock. Pistons, top 6 seed. Why is he not a superstar?
I said he can be.
SGA was elite last year. First seed.
They were the
But he-
first
he-
seed.
but he-
first team.
They were
made
the first
play-in.
seed, right?
No, I'm saying they.
2 years ago?
The year, they made the play-in. You call him a superstar.
He was first team All NBA.
First
I said
team,
he can be.
Second team, first team, play-in, second team, playoff lock.
Viv, I literally said he can
just-
be.
Outside of Steph Curry,
I don't get why he's not
Steph Curry, Luka, SGA, what point guard are you taking over Cade
Jalen Brunson.
for the next 5 years to build around?
It's still. I mean, Jalen Brunson's 28, 29.
There's none.
I don't hate it.
I think Brunson's better right now. I don't know
Maybe
if in the,
Dylan-
in,
maybe Dylan
in the
Harper
next in the
coming
next
in.
5 years, I don't know if I'll take Brunson over Cade.
You give me 5. You give me that long 5 years. Cade is what, 23? So that would be at 26, 27. Nobody. There's no guard. Not LaMelo, not Ja, not Brunson, not even Steph in the next 5 years. There's no guard I'm taking. None.
He's played himself into that category to where, this is just the beginning of his breakout to where he's at a competent team. But no, he's been that special this year. Like, I think the scoring flashes from him have been that special, and he plays defense. To do what he's doing at that size is remarkable. Like, he is legitimately an MVP level talent. Like, I can see that being his ceiling. Like, he's just that good. Like,
He is.
like last night against the Atlanta Hawks,
He's amazing.
Dyson Daniels is one of the best defenders in the world.
Oh my
Chop
God.
him up.
Cade Cunningham gave him the
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
It was like he embarrassed Dyson Daniels so bad that it's not a knock to Dyson
who
Daniels.
else did
It's
that too,
just
right?
what Cade does.
Jaden
McDaniels.
diced him.
Another reason why it's so impressive that he's doing it is because they really don't have another guy that can handle the ball. The fact that they just got it in Dennis Schroeder, and yesterday or whenever the last time they played, it was
against
Dennis's
Atlanta.
first time playing over 20 minutes in the 5 games. So the fact that it took him at this point to get another
Ramp
ball
up.
handler, of course, Jaden Ivey did get injured, so that's a huge part of it. Another guy that can handle the ball, but once he got injured, it's really been just him. So the fact that he's third in turnovers, I don't care about it, because when you're going to have as high usage as Cade Cunningham's going to have, but as efficient as he's been scoring the basketball, as, let me not say efficient as a playmaker, but still having the attributes, the skill, the talent that he does have as a playmaker in that own right, yeah, the finishing could be a little bit better, but his three-point shot and his mid-range game has been really strong this season, one of the league leaders in points, and you're uplifting what has been the laughingstock of the NBA for almost, I don't want to say a decade because they did make the playoffs with Blake Griffin, but for a good portion of our lives.
Shit, last year gives me like 5 years of them being a laughingstock, honestly.
Nah, you're spitting. But that's kind of where I can understand you calling me out for not calling him a superstar, because you're uplifting one of the worst franchises of recent memory, and he's doing this while being one of the best scorers, one of the best playmakers. I understand where you're coming from, but again, it can happen by the end of this season, before the playoffs even end, because he's shown he can uplift with minimal. You just give him a little bit of spacing. Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris. That's all he really needed to start to form out and show who he can really
I
be.
think
He might
just
be a top 15 player right now.
he might be, and I think just based off narrative, he wants to be on the first team. I'd be cool with it, because like again, last year was so ugly and so nasty that I'm dead ass. It really feels like the Pistons have been bad my entire life, when that's not the fact. But last year was so damn bad, so dreadful, from the head coach to the players to the injuries, that it felt like this team, even with Cade, who we knew was so talented, felt like they had no chance of being good this year. Like maybe they can make the play-in as a 9-10 seed, just because the East is so fucking bad. But the top 6 seed, like I understand last year the Thunder took a massive leap, right? The Thunder went to the number 1 seed and they surprised everybody by doing that. The Pistons are the number 1 seed, but it's just as surprising, in my opinion, that the Pistons are here at this 6th spot. If Cade can become a better finisher at the rim, because right now he's, I have the numbers up. He's around 30th percentile in terms of finishing at the rim. As you mentioned, Joel, he's great mid-range, 80th percentile. But yeah, at the rim, he's shooting 57%. Last few years, it's been around the same. So that's really, I think, the last key to him. Obviously, cutting down the turnovers, but naturally, they're going to get number 2. Some of the on-ball responsibility will be taken off his plate just because to have that high of a usage rate, it's hard to maintain unless you're, the Luka Doncic's and whatnot of the world. But if he can maintain what he's doing now, but become a more efficient finisher at the rim, we're talking about a guy that could, teeter as a top 5 player in the league. If we're seeing what he's doing now, uplifting this team as his second best player being wherever the fuck you want to pick Malik Beasley on any given night, you're a top 6 seed. You're going to be making the playoffs. And I think the Knicks are going to beat them, right? Assuming the Knicks have the third seed. Cade's getting at least a game. He could get 2 and they could push it to 6 games. And if he has a good playoff series, we're going to be talking about him, even though he's getting this talk, like we were talking about Paolo last year, when he took the Cavs down to the wire and he was putting up efficient night after efficient night and being the main scoring option when a lot of other guys weren't showing up.
Remind me of like Ja versus Utah.
Yeah.
That type of vibe.
Wake up party.
That series,
because Ja turned himself into a superstar in that series, if you ask me.
But he didn't have better numbers than Cade.
In that playoff series, is what I'm saying. He averaged 30 something.
Mm-hmm. He was only at 19 a game.
Yeah, he
that
was
year.
nuts. And he also beat Steph, which obviously wouldn't say he beat him, but
no, they played great.
Yeah, he did.
It's just honestly, this is just vindication for Cade. I mean, like, you had last year people and I get it, watching the Pistons was hard. They weren't good, bro.
No, it was
really
hard.
It was really painful. So I don't even blame people for not watching them. I only watched them for Cade. So when he didn't play, best believe I wasn't on that TV watching them. But it was hard because you had people just in general, when you don't play on a good team and you're the only guy with the ball, your weaknesses tend to show a lot more. And of course, the nonstop turnovers and the finishing numbers and their fake stats because they're not winning. Of course that is, but Cade has improved every year since he's got here. And I think last summer was the summer he got his foot fixed. When he really, because he had an injury that's been bothering him for 3 or 4 years, and he finally got his foot fixed. Coming into this year, even with Detroit, still had some up and downs, but then they went on a tear. And shout out to JB Bickerstaff because he really has these guys playing defense, and they have an upgrade from last year in terms of just serviceable players. All these players are quality role players in the NBA, but to go from bottom of the barrel to top 5, 6 seed in the East, where the East isn't this world beater, but their 5, 6 teams are pretty good, is truly amazing. It definitely fits an agenda or a narrative in the sense of he's doing a lot more with less. And you mentioned it. You brought up Orlando, who was supposed to be that next up-and-coming team coming up. And now it looks like if Detroit gets to number 2, they could be stealing the spotlight from them. Because, in my opinion, Cade is better than Moncaro. He's been one of the best young players. And what Cade's doing this year, just as being the primary initiator on offense and being the primary scorer and being able to, even though if his scoring isn't going there, just being a playmaker, just at reading defenses and being an elite pick-and-roll player. It's been great to see. Durbin's been playing better as of late, so that's another thing I'm just happy for. Same thing with Pods. I'm not just going to take it day by day. Asar has been great in his minutes. Dehls has been locked in now. He didn't lock in before, but now he's locked in. He's been focused. He's a big fan of Asar. Shout out to Dehls. Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway
He just gives
Jr.
you the pass on anyone.
That's more of a troll.
Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. doing the job, hitting 3 balls. Isaiah Stewart has been great defensively. I don't think nobody talked about that enough. Just at the rim, being a good switchable big. Isaiah Stewart is definitely dope for them. And getting Dennis Schroeder is dope. I think that style fits more of his, and he had to ramp up, and he was really huge for them in that Atlanta game. This team may not beat the Knicks. It's fine. It's fine. But damn, give him a run. Make it 6 games.
Cade should have a good series.
I agree. Cade should have a good series. I feel like Detroit could have a good series. They could lose that series, but I think defensively they'll be good in that series. I think offensively they'll be able to take advantages of some things like Brunson's height, Cat's slow and pick and roll, and that's what Cade loves to do. So being able to pick apart their defense, I think Cade will be able to do that. Make it fun. Make it interesting. That's all I ask for.
Can I say, I think for basketball, there's no better entrance for Cade Cunningham than the Knicks.
I want Indiana.
In MS, but I say this for the
glamour,
NBA to have that type of boost for another star in the uprising. They had it with Anthony Edwards, where he kind of just naturally had that charisma, that moxie, and on top of it, he was dominant. but he did it against Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So on that stage, he did it against Nikola Jokic. But for Cade, it's a little bit different because you're doing it in MSG, the New York media, the media capital of the world, to go into the Garden, to go ahead, like we all anticipate. He's going to go out there and he's going to hoop. For the NBA, that's a blessing.
I say Indiana because if you watch their games when they play each other, it's been a lot of physical confrontation.
Fact.
They've been arguing a shit ton, and that could be a potential brewing rivalry because we need those in the league where
You're
you
right.
can shake those up. Two really young teams. Indiana a little bit header in the department, but you got a young point guard in Hallie, a young point guard in Cade. Obviously, Cade fucking comfortably clears, but you got two young point guards ready to duke it out. You got Benedict Mathurin, you got Asar Thompson. Like, it's a lot of things brewing in that matchup where we can get a rivalry out of there if we promote it.
Who would you want his number 2 to be? Like, what kind of play, type? Long term.
So last summer, I wanted them to go get Zach. I thought they wouldn't have to sell a lot to get him. I thought he would have been a great complimentary piece. For Cade,
Do you want to see him with a defensive-minded big? Do you want to see him with another offensive-minded wing?
I think Cade would, for me, be more like, I don't want to say Braun because Braun is more like a Brandon Ingram archetype, like another playmaking wing that can score the ball at a high level but defend too. So
What about Jaren?
Jaren Jackson, he doesn't rebound well enough for their archetype, their defense. I think for Jaren, you need a good rebounder. I think Brandon Ingram and Jaylen Brown, if that's possible.
I hear what you're saying.
In a little bit of Jaylen Brown's traits and a little bit of Brandon Ingram's traits.
Be a good player.
I agree. Be fucking a dude.
I think the center position is interesting because Isaiah Stewart's playing really well. Darren, you're hoping that the defense just improves just so he's a good two-way player. I think those are perfect complements. He just needs more shooting. I think the defense around him has been fine, though. I think pretty much it's we're talking about him maybe getting somebody else, but they've drafted a lot of dudes who they're expecting to be that, Ivy, Asar, Stewart, Jalen Duren, Ron Holland.
Holland's been good.
We're all expecting them to take in that role and just consistently improve. So that's basically his core.
It took Cade a little while, but he's here.
Yeah, I think Ron Holland's really good. He has high upside. So he has good players around him. Jaden Ivey was playing well before he got hurt, so he has those players around him. They just got to develop, and I think they pretty much have their team. You're hoping Jaden and Asar develop into those two guys that play next to Cade.
Mm-hmm. Jaden looked like he was there.
Yeah, and then Asar just needs to improve his 3-point shot, but defensively, he's a big reason why they're good defensively is because of what he brings. So
I want to see an Asar
they kind of got their
Brunson series, man.
I'm tripping. So Asar, Jaden, and Ron Holland were all the 5th pick overall.
Yes,
I think so. Yeah.
That is so crazy, bro.
Yeah. No, I think a series with the Knicks is scary because when you run into a team.
Scared?
Yeah.
For who?
When you run
You
into
told
it.
me on the thing.
Oh
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys,
That's. But
you've really changed your mind in 2 weeks.
I just see
A lot
how.
has changed in the last.
I just see how the
slept a lot.
Knicks.
48 hours.
I just see how the Knicks have played. They look
You slept a
sorry
lot. You slept on it.
against these great teams. That doesn't mean they're going to look like that against the Pistons. But when you have a team that is coming into a playoff series, they've never been here before. They don't know what they don't know. That is a very dangerous team to play, especially a Knicks team that they're not good defensively. I'm against any formidable good offense, they are not good defensively. They allow the most open 3-point shots in the league. And if Cade Cunningham dominates their series and they shoot well from there, they have defenders in Asar guarding Brunson that can make it tough on him. And if nobody else can score consistently, that's going to be a tough series. So, I definitely see that series going
That'd be crazy.
going to 6. But, the Knicks should take care of business. But you mentioned that storyline just arriving. Trae Young and the Hawks, even though looking back on it, they had a better roster than the Knicks. The Knicks were favored in that series, and they ended up losing. They ended up getting embarrassed in that series. Now, this team isn't that team, because that team, outside of Randall, you had Elfrid Payne starting, R.J. Barrett, Reggie Bullock, and Mitchell Robinson wasn't even starting. So he was hurt. No, they're dominating the Wolves right now.
No, it's a 1-point game.
Oh, they are.
Minnesota's
So they came back.
They were up 20.
They were going to blow now.
Yo, they came back. You know who's the leading scorer?
Jaden.
27 a game, but stinking it up. So this is fun for me regardless.
Hey, listen, it's fun for me. Jaden McDaniels, offensive league.
No,
that's what we talking about.
Rob Dillingham, calm 12-4-5.
Oh, they're in
what we
OT.
needed.
Yeah.
No, that's what they
Shannon,
needed.
17.
Oh, he
right
missed. Damn, the fourth quarter, Minnesota outscored them 41-19.
Oh, my God.
now. I bet you SGA wasn't on the floor.
So we have some news this week is that the Sixers and Embiid are exploring options for his knee injury. Now, just a couple of things about the Sixers. Embiid is owed $248.1 million over the next 4 seasons, fully guaranteed. Paul George is owed $161 million over the next 3 years, fully guaranteed. The Sixers are 20-36, 12th seed, 6th worst record in the NBA. Their pick is top 6 protected.
Here we go.
So they need to finish.
Goes to the Thunder, right?
Yes. Yes.
We can't have that
They
shit,
need to finish as one of the worst teams in order to maintain and keep their first round pick. Now, I think it's pretty clear that they need to just tank, and this season is a wash
They don't
season.
need to tank.
I
They're
found
ass.
a great player.
They really
for the
don't have to
Pistons.
tank.
They're just not good.
Maybe the Pistons don't want this.
Tyrese Maxey?
I don't know. No,
Quinn Grimes.
Joel Embiid.
We're good.
Nah.
See what I'm saying? Like, how do you say no to
Injury.
that?
He's just not available.
It depends what the cost is. You're also
Is it
paying
going to
him.
cost that much? I'm
You're gonna
The
asking.
con-
contract's
You're-
also fucking
you're
nuts.
getting-
I'm
him-
okay with that though, because who else are they paying?
They're not. They don't. I don't think they want to make a gamble if somebody's not available.
I don't. Yeah.
But
not
how-
yet.
What's,
not yet.
What's the price? Is what I'm
It's
genuinely
the price
asking.
of you sending away availability and you not having him.
I agree, but what's the package that it turns you and you're like, no way?
It's not even the package.
It's-
It's
yeah,
just
I'm
it's
not
just the
good.
money you're gonna have to give him.
But it's in my opinion, who knows?
If you tell me you get 65 games in Embiid, I'd do it in a heartbeat next year.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
you're not. You can't tell me that.
I just think
can't.
Embiid right now is getting into that
Wouldn't he be
Yao Ming
hungry?
territory.
Yeah, but he can't.
He'd be hungry.
He could be hungry, but he
I'm
can't.
in Detroit.
Yeah.
I
Got a
just think
vibe
he's.
now.
I just think he's an injury prone. It's unfortunate. I just think his body just fails him.
Yeah, like I hope it doesn't end the same way it ended for Yao Ming. But that's what it feels like with Embiid. He's just not on the court, and I think I don't think it would take much to get Embiid because of how unavailable he
Philly
is.
values him
But
a
at the
lot.
same time, if I'm Philly, I'm not gonna sell him for pennies on the dollar. And
can't.
when you look at this the potential Sixers team next year, right?
Give us Maxey.
Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Joel Embiid, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre, Yabusele, and a top 6 pick.
The issue. That sounds nice.
No, it doesn't. Not
On
anymore.
paper.
Not anymore. We've seen
On
them.
paper.
We've seen them.
Can we give Paul George some grace or no?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
We get
He's
like
been playing through an injury too. I think right
I'm all
now.
for it. I've been
think
trying to
it's-
say it, but you guys have been assholes.
We've been
So I just sit here in silence.
He's bad,
But he's
this,
been dealing
but
with
this
injuries.
is a reset year to where if you get a top 6 pick, be as bad as you possibly can, bring in and draft a franchise player for the next era
VJ
while still
Edgecombe.
having these
Ace
players
Bailey.
on the
Maxey.
team.
Yeah. No, listen. Paul George has been dealing with a lot of injuries.
He has.
He's been dealing with a shit ton of injuries. He was hurt in the summer. He was hurt throughout this year. He's been playing through it. That's a real man.
Respect
right
that.
there. That is a man with
When
heart.
Tyrese Halliburton does it, you make fun of him.
No, but
I'm
here-
just
but-
saying.
No, but here's my
Hey,
next.
Joel.
Here's my
Hey,
next point.
Tyrese Halliburton is playing well.
No, Joel. Here's my next point. Paul George, you've been playing like shit. I'm not.
Turn the podcast off.
You've been playing like. Turn the fucking podcast off and get in the gym. Listen, I keep it P with Paul George. He's been playing like dog shit. Have you been hurt? Yeah, but you go out there every night. You put that fucking camera on and you run your mouth. You run
See,
your
he's
mouth.
been getting injections in his pinky.
Yeah, no, you saw what he said about Embiid. Drugs help.
Yeah, he did say that.
And people clown him, but it's the God honest truth. I mean, we've seen Jalen Hurts be drugged up for a game. Like players get drugged up.
Seen
people
Aaron
critique
Rodgers,
him.
Yeah, players get drugged up for a game. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens.
You sick fuck.
I think for Philly though, the funny part about it is they're not purposely tanking. They're trying to win
just
games.
ass.
They're just not good. Like, they're just not good. And it's tough to tank because top 6 is so specific, and the lottery could fuck you.
Yeah.
And Philly, the Sixers don't have the best world of luck, so that could be a moment where, yeah, you tank and then your shit ends up at 7. And you're like, wow,
Yeah.
we did all this.
That happened.
that hurt. Like we're like, fuck. But if you do get a top 6 protected, you do get a pick. Maybe you bring in another young player because you need to do that because you need to, start thinking about life after Embiid and after Paul George because those are much older players. But if I'm Detroit, call for Maxey. Yo, Ivy, Maxey's better.
I just think
Hey!
I think that Cade and Embiid would fit so nice.
I agree.
Together.
Maxey's more available.
He is.
He's such a dog in the playoffs. Oh my god, he's such a
You
bucket.
got baby Maxey and Ivy.
Yeah, I want the real one.
I get it.
He's like a demon.
Max is kind of inefficient.
His team sucks. There's nothing he can do.
Okay.
Got Paul George standing in the corner and B not playing.
You
You know,
cooking?
and then B don't play. Maxey, he's just like fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going
Maybe
out
on
there
some
shoot.
bullshit, but is
He
that
do.
a kind of an issue?
Now because now he got Cade.
Fair enough.
He got Cade. Right?
Yeah,
But
I
you
don't
don't think that if
I don't
Embiid
think the
has Cade-
Sixers got shit.
Now
going
if
for him.
Embiid got Cade, it's up. When
But
they
I'm saying
play.
for Embiid,
But how many
you don't think
games?
Embiid would be like, come on, I'm here.
He could do all that, but then if his knee break out, he like sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just Embiid and Paul George are older, but you look at their young core if they get that top 6 pick, it'll be McCain, Maxey, Quentin Grimes if he stays, and then
You can stop there.
that pick, and then the pick.
Yep.
Whoever it is.
Fake. Adding Quentin Grimes was fake crazy.
It was fake.
QG's
He's
been
playing
hooping.
really well.
He is, but I wouldn't add him like.
Should I
to the
count
young core.
Yabusele or is that no?
He's 28.
Young course nuts.
Yeah, he's older. The France Olympics put him on. That's why
He
he's in the
dunked on
league.
Braun. Shit.
That was
They
tough.
played it 8 times in the quarter.
They
goal.
should've.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was lit.
The,
Yeah.
the dunk was crazy. Bro.
Shoulda came
LeBron
home,
got
though.
up. He's like, "Fuck."
Can't believe he didn't come back to Boston.
Now tomorrow we have Luka Doncic versus the Mavericks.
Got Torrey Craig though.
You know, and the
We're
prize
gonna be on
picks
playback.
play is 30.5 points for Luka against the Mavericks.
I believe it.
Yeah, it should be 45.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go off too.
I'll be honest, truthfully, Luka might challenge the scoring record. He's going to.
They got a demon up there.
He's going to belt to ass torch them every single time down there. Be honest with you, this might be a game where LeBron hits 10 points and he gets the fuck out the way. LeBron understands that this one's personal, and that's how it has to be. The Mavericks completely slapped Luka in the face, and I anticipate nothing but
I
a
wish AD was
masterclass.
playing, man.
So yeah, you smash the more on him having 30.5, because truthfully, Prize Picks should have set it at 42.
And if you use code PAS, you can play $5 and get $50. Luka against the Mavericks, first matchup. It's not in Dallas. I think it ruins the allure just a little bit.
What's his stat line?
What is he gonna have? Yo, I almost called it the other night. I
You
said,
did. I seen that. Yeah.
He's going to have 40, 43,
Damn.
11, and 7.
What if he has 4, 8, and 5? Like, how
What's
would
your prediction?
And then we wake up.
I think I'm gonna go with like 38. I think I'm going with a triple double.
Yo, Ant-Man just blocked the shit out of SJ driving to the rim.
How's this game hitting? Are you both watching it?
Yeah.
I'm
No,
calling
the
it.
Wolves are
I
up
wish
by
there was a
one.
moment we could put it up on the TV real quick and just
Anthony
like, you know?
Edwards, he did something dumb on offense.
I
Yeah,
understand
that
that.
three.
Was it
you
passing?
guys?
No, it was the fact that Nas Reed got blocked at the rim by Dort, and then Anthony Edwards stole the ball and got the loose ball,
He's watching.
and he had a lane to the basket to drive, and then he stepped back from 3 and missed, and Nas Reed got the offensive rebound and put it up, and that's how they were able to score, and that's why
Man, the rim protector.
129, 128.
Who's up? Okay, see.
Oh no, Minnesota.
Minnesota, the ball.
Yeah.
So the block. So whose ball is it right now?
It's I think OKC's ball.
Yeah, they go out on. Yeah.
No, all jokes aside, bro. Put it on TV.
No, we could stop for a second and watch it. Dude, we shouldn't do football today,
It's 10
realistically.
seconds.
No, we're good. The only last thing we got to mention is Greg Popovich likely
Bro,
retiring.
My head is on fucking
No,
fire.
we
And that's
spoke for
probably
so
it.
long.
Yeah, I mean that first topic was an hour and a half.
Game over?
No, it's not over yet.
No,
There's
it
gonna be free
really
throws.
was like an hour and a half of yelling.
But man, shout out Jaden McDaniels.
He said,
Shout out to
"You're being
Timberwolves."
stupid." No, you dumb fuck.
Yo, that killed me.
First off, let me apologize for that. That
No,
may
they
have been a
were
bit
calling each
much.
other dumb.
Not as
And then he's
good.
like, "You got the fucking stats wrong."
He's like, "You idiot!" It's like, bro, they're both calling each other dumb. It's so funny, bro.
Nah, literally. No, I called Drew out on the lineup thing, and then he just spazzed.
He's like,
"You
"Bro,
dumb
keep it on
fuck."
topic, you dumb fuck."
You ever
guys are
think about
hilarious,
us
bro.
having like a post game after a debate?
Nah, that would be funny. Like, how'd you
No.
think you did, bro?
I'll
Like,
tell you what, there's probably some moments where those post games probably would have been still heated.
Joe
go
Ingles.
OD, like,
Oh my
or you come to
God.
the post game like, I ain't had my best performance. I forgot some stats. Don't remember some key moments.
Yo,
like,
I'll tell you what, before we get on to this
Need a
last
timeout.
topic.
Got it.
Yo, shout out to Mookie, the Rated R Sports. Bro, they do that. I was just a judge
For real?
on one of their shows. So it's me, shout out to Trent, Flag on the Play, tune into that. And then one other guy's name was Joe. And we were 3 judges, and they had 2 guys going head to head on 3
That's tough.
football topics.
Was he
it
hating
was
on
fun.
Lamar?
He
that
kind of
one of
was.
them? What else
But
is
it's
new?
funny you say that because the dude low-key lost
Mm-hmm.
because he was fucking up on the stats. And apparently that guy had never lost a debate before.
Wow.
Yeah, so he
post
folded.
game, he's like, yeah, I fucked up, man.
That's exactly what he said.
Stats
He was
wasn't
like,
right.
"This one hurts. I was not the better man. I didn't prepare the way I should have."
That's so funny. Trent asked me to be on there, but they have a peculiar time. I be at work. So I
Nah,
can't get
facts.
on there.
The times, and it's also at the same time that we record too sometimes. So, nah, Trent has a great show. Trent's a cool dude, great
He is-
show.
he
But
is mad
Mookie
cool.
also has a great.
Mookie is the funniest.
He's so
person, 'cause
funny,
he
bro.
be so serious.
Yep.
And he will stand
He
on
did
it no
everything
matter
like
what.
fucking Kirk is better than Lamar. And
He
shit,
does.
Bro.
He says some wild shit, but he's
Yeah.
dead ass, and that's
He
why
hates
it's funny.
Jalen Hurts now. Not now, but like
Hates Lamar.
He
he's
hates
been hating.
It's a
Lamar.
trend here.
So yeah, that was the topic.
He hates Justin Fields, too.
Who's the best?
Hey, they got a lot in common. This guy and him, you know?
He probably is upset because they said Hurts is better than Herbert, and then
He's a big Herbert guy.
That's what set him off.
He think Herbert's the
The
greatest.
topic was who's the best quarterback to not have a Super Bowl right now. Somebody picked Lamar. Somebody picked Joe Burrow. And the guy who had Joe Burrow, I'll be honest, you can manipulate that argument to say that Lamar's overrated. Like it's not true, but you can find a way, especially when you have Joe Burrow, to be like, Lamar's boogeyman. Joe Burrow's beaten him.
Yeah.
He's been better than him. Lamar's never been better than Mahomes.
That's a fact.
And that guy didn't do that.
What can you do?
No facts.
How's the score looking? Who got the ball?
It's
gotta be free
129
throws.
to 128. 6 seconds left.
McKeel's at the
Alexander
line.
Walker got fouled. He has.
You know what's going to be
points.
crazy and it's going to
I want
break
that
your
series.
guys' hearts?
Man, that it's gonna be.
Nikhil
It's a
Alexander's
great.
gonna be a Laker.
It's a great
I seen
matchup.
someone
Yeah, I
tweet
want
that. Why?
series.
Because it's just written in the stars.
Who?
He's just a role player that has the Lakers written
Josh
all over
Hart?
it. Nikhil Alexander Walker.
He's good.
He's
He's
good as
really
fuck.
good.
Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Now, that would be a great.
We
pickup.
move off from Vando to Nikhil Alexander Walker.
That's a beautiful move off.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Gotta give him
Yo,
one
Yo, but I won't
first,
slander
man.
Vando. Vando's been our small ball 5.
But
I'm protected first. Gotta go. Maybe both.
Nah, Minnesota, they
Didn't want
moved
to.
Cat because they wanted to keep him and Nas.
Neil?
Yeah. They want to keep both.
I
Clutch
think
free
it's.
throws.
I think Minnesota is very close to what they could be post the Cat era.
They're sneaky.
I think right now their team is really good. You know, I'm actually fearful for when Randall and Dante come back because when
Dante can help.
But when Dante comes back, now you're taking away minutes from Jalen Clark, who I think honestly is better than him because he locks down defensively.
You got a whole
This-
offseason to
and
figure that
you gotta
out.
hope Clark's not. He's not playing today, is he?
He is. He
He's
is.
playing.
Yeah, he's
oh
playing.
shit.
Like shit
Yeah.
or he cooked?
I haven't. You know, obviously I haven't watched.
I'll check.
it, so-
Don't worry.
I know offensively, I don't know if he's playing that well, but defensively, you know,
I mean,
obviously the
SGA's
impact.
got like
Actually, he has
fucking
40.
He has 40,
so-
brother. Nothing.
It might be a tough 40.
He missed 6 shots.
Is there a such thing as a tough 40?
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
definitely-
PJ
Ant-Man.
Tucker's.
You seen dudes take 36 shots?
You're right.
PJ Tucker when he guards
apologize.
Kevin Durant. It's a tough 40.
Yeah, SGA is 11 for 19. I don't think there's no struggling today.
You said he missed 4 shots.
My
I'm
fault.
gonna be
Exactly.
honest.
He
I
was
love
happy.
SGA so fucking much.
Sorry, bro.
He's a good
What's
player.
what's Jalen Clark's stats?
I got you right
I know
now.
McDaniels. He's leading
5
team
points,
scoring.
28 minutes. He was a minus 18. So I think they
Okay.
benched him.
Yeah, probably went on
And
the
well,
run.
he just fucking came back from slimming. his
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, he gets
So,
past.
Yeah, he does. But Dillingham played well. That's a good sign. But yeah, you know, when Dante comes back, you're taking away minutes from Dillingham or Clark. Dillingham right now is a little, you know, raw. He needs to develop a little bit more.
Hardenstein must have got hurt or something. He only played 15 minutes.
Hate to see that.
But then, I guess outside of that, yeah, Rando is just a fit. You know,
Yeah.
He
It's
did
just
get hurt.
He needs
did.
to come off the bench. I
Was
think for
injured?
them to be at their best.
Third quarter, sustaining an apparent nose injury. He was good.
Okay, 6 seconds left. I'm
Here we
just
go.
waiting
There we
for
go.
the end
No,
of
we're
this
good.
game.
Good,
There we
good,
go.
bro.
Caruso inbound the ball.
No football, right?
Should not show the screen.
No.
Oh, thank God.
SGA, pull up.
Dog shit.
Break.
Hold on, second chance.
Nah,
No.
0.
You took a pull-up 3?
It was
Yeah,
a horrible
break.
shot.
Shit
horrible
wasn't
shot.
going in.
Horrible.
Now,
shot.
if it was 2, it's going in.
Horrible shot.
They just blew a lead and lost. That's kind of tough.
Shout out
Nah,
to
that's
Jalen.
that's probably the worst
McDaniels.
loss of their season.
Let's get OKC and Minnesota in the first round. Let's have it.
How did
That'd be
J-Dub look?
one of the best playoff series.
I think he had 27.
Let's have OKC, Minnesota.
Tom?
Building the perfect West bracket.
Oh my
OKC
god.
versus Minnesota. Second seed, we got Denver. They can play Clippers.
Okay.
Oh, no, they can play the Warriors. We got Lakers.
Clippers.
Dallas.
Don't hate it at all.
Healthy. Then Memphis, Houston. Just have the young boys
Where
fight.
the
One thing
Clippers-
about Tim
Clippers
Connolly
play Denver.
is
Oh,
he knows
somebody
how
has
to
to drop
draft.
out.
That's what I'm
Fuck.
saying, bro.
Tim
drops out.
Connolly.
You
Tim
told me
Connolly.
you said the perfect bracket.
It ain't the Warriors.
Tim Connolly knows how to draft. Terrence Shannon Jr. has 17 and 10 rebounds. Dillingham had 12, 4, and 5. Luka Garza, he only had 9 minutes. I'm not gonna mention him.
Him putting Luka in there is
McDaniels
crazy.
27, 11, and 4. 9 for 17 for
Yo,
50.
tell him Jalen Brown coming.
I'm telling you, man. You know, y'all slept.
Y'all gave up
on
too
him.
soon on him, man. He's got
I'm-
3 20-plus games last 4.
I'm just seeing. In the month of February, he's averaging 18 and 8.
No,
Can make you cry?
He's been hooping.
Yeah, listen,
since
I love
that for
February.
When you know that the guy has the skill, he's just been held back.
Yo, it's almost like
see
how
it.
when I told you Cade was a really good playmaker, you said he was a below average one. You got to see the vision sometimes.
What's
you know?
crazy is before February, Jaden had 3 games of 20-plus points.
It's
And
Randall,
in
went
February,
out.
he's got 1, 2, 3,
Is
4, 5,
Randall
6.
that much of a cancer?
I don't think so. I think it's just, you know, McDaniels has kind of been
That
waiting.
hurt.
He's been waiting in the shadows to have more offensive responsibility. But
Think about
because
it.
there's more offensive players there, he hasn't been able to do nothing.
Hartenstein got 30 M's because Randall got hurt.
Damn. That's a good teammate.
I'm back.
Sure, yeah.
But that's gonna do it
right now.
for episode 400. No, yeah,
Yeah.
460.
Keep it 100 as a man. Nice legs.
You do.
I'd give him a kiss or two.
No extreme hair. You know what I'm
You
saying?
No
moisturize?
scabs.
I do. Not today though. Not today. I'll be honest. I feel like this is my ashy.
How do you have no hair?
Dude, I don't grow hair.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess the beard not in there, right?
Not even under here. Like it's literally like a little puff.
What about your pubes?
Pubes. Fake,
Jesus Christ.
fake a little, but nothing crazy.
Okay.
Like you could pluck them, but you can't really. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that.
What was that?
Like grab it, like bite it.
Have you tried that?
On a woman, yes.
He needs help.
I'm a freaky guy when it's in that room, man. Lights off.
Like,
dark
there's no
room.
way that felt good.
I wanted to try it. I'm not gonna admit it wasn't good.
But what like?
I get bored. You eating vagina for 30 minutes. You get bored. You start to do things.
30 minutes. Is
You
crazy.
know.
30 minutes, man.
30 minutes is crazy.
When you down there for 10, it feels like 30. Like
Okay,
it feels
fair.
like the world. You've been down there for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
But never.
You guys
never tried
can
that.
follow us on Twitter
I don't blame you
at
for
Pick
cutting
Aside Pod,
You're like 6'6",
on
bro. You can't really-
Instagram
there's no
and
avenue.
TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.